Special Weather Day edition of Wake Up West Texas. We do interrupt your coverage for the next hour or so to bring you the latest on this winter storm. I'm joined by our meteorologists, Sawyer McElroy and Ethan Yost. And guys, overnight and even yesterday evening, we saw a lot more snow.
Yeah, we were talking about that transition over to mainly sleet and snow as we headed into our Sunday morning. And as you can see, looking outside over the skies of Odessa this morning, we are hanging on to, a great deal of snow. We're waking up to a great deal of snow. Not terribly impressive, but hey, it's covering the ground. It's, probably about an inch. Would you think, Ethan?
I mean, we were getting some reports last night that we were seeing 1 to 2 inch rates per hour in some spots. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more than that locally.
Okay, cool. So yeah, at least measurable snowfall. We'll take that, and it has come to an end for most of this morning. Here's a live look at radar as we do start off our day. We are seeing, still some snow across portions of southeast New Mexico and some very sporadic spots across portions of the Permian Basin, such as here, and then eastern Permian Basin as well. But overall, still kind of isolated this morning. We do have those weather alerts still, that winter storm warning in effect coming up through 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Central Time for those areas in that purple color. For, snow for most, with areas of light freezing rain south of I-10, additional accumulations of up to 2 inches of snow. I mainly think we're done with snow, but just in case, up to 2 inches of snow, a light glaze of ice possible. So still expect those slick roads, power outages, and tree damage. And then also that extreme cold warning. So the precipitation coming to an end as we head into later hours coming up for our Sunday, but then as we do head into Monday, still going to be very, very cold. This extreme cold warning continuing until 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Central Time coming up tomorrow for those areas in blue, a good portion of the region. For wind chill values as low as at -7. Looking about wind chills for about -1 for the Midland Odessa area, but still very, very cold as we head into our Monday morning. Then a cold weather advisory in effect through that same time period coming up tomorrow for wind chill values anywhere between 0 and 10 degrees above 0. So like I mentioned, still waking up to some snow across portions of the region. Those temperatures ranging from those teens to the 30s. So yesterday Presidio was sitting in the 50s at this time, sitting at a whopping 39 this morning as that Arctic air continued to make its way southward yesterday. Sitting at 12 currently in Midland, 13 here in Odessa for our temperatures. Wind chill values anywhere from -3 in Lamesa to 35 in Presidio, sitting at a whopping 0 for Midland currently. So very, very cold as we do start off our day, and we are looking to see, very cold conditions continuing into our Monday as well as everybody goes back to work and those kiddos possibly head back to school.
All right, and I think we've been so kind of distracted by ice and snow that we don't talk about how cold it is.
Yeah.
I was driving in, it said 15 degrees on the car. Normally that would freak us out.
We've kind of been trying to message that this week. Even if we didn't get a single drop of snow, rain, sleet, whatever, it was just going to be very cold anyway. And then of course we have that precipitation on the ground, and then is helping to keep things a little bit colder as well. And then we are looking to see possibly some fog developing overnight because of that liquid, not liquid, I guess, but that frozen precipitation on the ground. So expect that to develop as well across the region as we do head into our Monday. All
right, well, let's take a look across our area. We have teams that have spent the night once again in Odessa, in Big Spring, and Andrews. We'll start out this morning in Odessa, where First Alert 7's Lauren Munt is right outside our studios. Lauren, how are things in Odessa this morning?
Well, Jacob, you and Sawyer said it best. It is cold. I mean, 14 degrees is absolutely insane. My little West Texas heart just absolutely cannot handle it. Yesterday, I think that I got a little cocky and I thought, oh, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I wore like one layer and a jacket. I was not fine. I think I was cold for like 8 hours after being inside for a really long time. It was freezing. And then this morning, I don't even think I can begin to explain the chill that is in the air this morning. I have majorly upgraded my wardrobe today. We have a lot more layers on today, and those layers are courtesy of meteorologist Sawyer McElroy and our digital content producer Katie Carlock. I have borrowed a lot of extra layers from them, some fleece-lined leggings, some warmer gloves. We've got hand warmers inside my boots, double layers of fuzzy socks. I'm feeling a lot more prepared today, but that does not stop the wind chill that's like hitting my face and the snow that's coming down. It is certainly a chilly morning, but it's a lot more fun of a morning. It's a little less like icy and a little less scary and a more fresh powder, more things to do. I will say we did try and make a snowman earlier. It was not working out so well. I will attempt again in a little bit and see if we can't get a snowman rolling. But I mean, great weather to go hang out outside and make some snow angels and play in the backyard and just hang out and have some fun in the snow. But make sure you layer up because it is freezing, absolutely freezing, especially for those of us in West Texas who are not used to these very, very cold temperatures. Jacob?
All right, Lauren, thank you. Let's go to our coverage in Andrews. Now, don't worry, Ethan didn't disappear. He's just off camera adjusting some things. Let's go to Andrews now, where First Ward 7 Sierra Burnett and Rachel Fortunato spent the night. Rachel's joining us right now live there in Andrews. Rachel, have you seen a lot more snow?
Yes, good morning, Jacob. We are out here in Andrews. We've had a lot of snow come last night. Let me give you a little look at what we're looking at out here. These cars are pretty much all new yesterday, uncovered. You can see they're very covered in snow right now. If we turn a little more this way, we can see out here, this is a road right here, and there's snow over there as well. Now, at our hotel yesterday, we did have a few people who did say that they added an extra night to stay last night because of the snow and icy conditions that we are seeing. And the hotel also said many people called just in case they did experience a power outage. Now we will have more for you from Andrews a little bit later. For First Alert 7 News, I'm Rachel Fortunato.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Stay warm out there. Let's go to Big Spring, another stop here on our tour of West Texas. Jensen Young waking up with us this morning. Jensen, what are you seeing out in Big Spring?
Well, Jacob, luckily the wind that I've been constantly talking about, of just a consistent wind that was blowing a lot of snow in and really just making it very cold for my face, I'll tell you that much, that has really died down over the course of the night. As you can see, a lot more snow has accumulated. You can see some foot tracks here that are making an actual indent in the snow there, so you can actually see that there is enough to get under and grab some. Honestly, if I wanted to, I might do that at 6:30 with you. But definitely cold for sure, and a lot more snow accumulation, but the wind has died down, which has made it a lot more bearable to be outside. Still not suggested to be outside because of course it is very, very cold, and our feels like temperature is a couple of degrees, if that. That's at best, I would assume. So very chilly at the moment, but doing okay here so far early here this morning. So Jacob, for now I'm going to toss it back to you in studio in Big Spring for First Alert 7 News. I'm Jensen Young.
All right, guys. Well, a lot of snow, like we mentioned. I mean, it seems like, do we know how many inches, depending on where we're talking about?
Well, we could go outside at some point today and actually measure it. We'd have
Okay.
to actually go and do that.
I
But
was-
there's no official reports here in Odessa yet.
Okay. I was looking to get in the building this morning. I saw somebody had pulled the door and it had pushed up a mound of snow. So it's like, okay, maybe that's how much was in front of the door. And I mean, that was good.
Snow drifts will be a little more
thicker.
exaggerated. So, yeah, but we'd have to actually do that at some point today, and then maybe we'll get some actual reports.
Okay, Ethan, I know you
Have
were
a measuring
a ruler
capability? Yeah, like a ruler.
We've gotta have a ruler
yardstick.
somewhere.
somewhere. You would hope so. We have someone, ruler somewhere in the station. Ethan, you were pointing out, you were looking over at the Weather Center, you saw kind of the national map. What were you seeing over there?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just West Texas being affected by the winter storm this weekend. I mean, it's literally like a 2,000-mile span from West Texas all the way to New England. And it's just tons of snow, significant amounts actually. There's some areas receiving a foot or more, even upwards of 2 feet of snow all the way up in areas like the Great Lakes, over towards New York, along the eastern seaboard and the Appalachian Mountains. And then a big ice storm along the Mid-South across portions of Louisiana, Arkansas, up and towards Mississippi. So it's not just us getting in on the action, really, the entire weekend. And also dangerous cold for many others as well.
All right, well, we want to tell you about some news now. We'll go to the Ector County. They've issued their emergency management department has issued a disaster declaration because of this winter storm. They're urging residents to prepare for more cold temperatures, the icy conditions, possible power outages, although I was checking the Encore outage map this morning. Looks like in Odessa, none to speak of. In Midland, there's a few. Greenwood area, mainly going through those, and some kind of south of Interstate 20 in the county as well, seeing some power outages, but really no significant power outages here in our area this morning. But in response, the county has opened up a warming shelter at the Ector County Coliseum there at Barn A on Andrews Highway. That shelter has food, charging stations, and overnight accommodations. You can find more information about that on firstalert7.com. The city of Odessa has also made a disaster declaration. Then Mayor Cal Hendrick has declared a local state of disaster as well. According to a news release, this will stay in place for at least 7 days unless the city of Odessa renews that. The disaster declaration activates when the city emergency operations plan, and it does take effect immediately when these sorts of things happen. I think now we're going to let you know about some school closures. Is that correct? Yes. So IDEA Public Schools sent us an email saying that all of their campuses across our area, so IDEA Yukon, Travis, all of them will be closed on Monday. So we already had schools as of yesterday saying, hey, we're closing down, shutting down for Monday. So that's IDEA Public Schools. That also includes Midland ISD, announced that they will not be having any classes on Monday as well. So it's obviously a big deal because that's one of our biggest school districts. So that's what's going on with Midland ISD. No school on Monday. They will have a makeup day that was already planned for it. It would have been an off day. Now it's going to be used as a bad weather makeup day. That's coming in March. I believe it was March 6th is a Friday is what they said. Odessa Compass Academy also announced that they will not be having school on Monday. We got an email from their superintendent. So these are kind of those main school closings that we've heard about. Now, if you want to know about any closings as far as schools or churches, many churches sent us emails because a lot of people may be thinking, should I go to church this morning? Well, you can go to our website, First Alert 7. We've got a closings tab there, a closings story you can click on. Has all sorts of school closings, business closings, church closings, any delays, although a lot of it's just stuff shut down right now for today and already tomorrow, people planning on not having school across some of the area. You may be asking Ector County ISD here in Odessa, what are they doing? Well, we are still waiting to hear from them. They do usually like to wait up to the last minute to get all the information they can to make a good choice. And so we're waiting on ECISD, but of course we'll be your first alert if we hear anything about Ector County ISD and what classes they are having. Let's go to some viewer pictures and video that have been sent in. Let's see what we've got here. Well, it's snow. This looks like it's a Dairy Queen. I couldn't tell exactly which Dairy Queen. This does look like maybe it's over by the Odessa College campus there. So kind of University and Golder area.
And this is from yesterday, I'm assuming, because it's still dark.
Right, daylight
out
outside. Yes, somebody was out sending these pictures in for us.
I mean, there's plenty of sheets of ice out there, too, in some areas. I mean, we also got some pictures in about people ice skating on the ice.
I did.
It was thick enough
saw that.
and widespread enough to do that. And, of course, with the ice, there was a couple power outages. But as of now, looks like we're doing pretty good. Just a little bit of snow. The good thing about snow, that's light and fluffy. So when it lands on things, it doesn't break them, it doesn't damage them, including power lines. So really, we're just looking at a lot of snow, and that's about it. And also a little bit slick on the roads, but not nearly as bad as it could be with things like ice.
Well, Sawyer and I were debating talking about this because we don't want to give people like a false sense of security, or we want people to still stay off the roads. But the snow almost helps with traction because your car can kind of compress into it. The tires have something to grab onto at least.
Little more so. But
Yes.
again, it's nowhere near as safe as if the roads were completely clear, of course. And of course, us West Texans out here are not very familiar with these types of snow events, so we may not be too in tune with how to drive in these conditions. So if you're not very familiar with how to drive in these conditions, we really do recommend you just stay home, don't drive today. Maybe just wait till tomorrow, even though roads will still likely be covered a little bit. It'll be a little bit better tomorrow, but if you must, just take it slow, and of course, also watch those drivers around you. Brake really lightly and also accelerate slowly.
Good advice there for sure, Ethan. I mean, you're from Missouri, so you've got a little more snow experience than the rest of
Oh,
us.
I mean, I've been driving in like 12 inches of snow. I mean, I can imagine Sawyer has had even more experience than I have as well, considering you're from Colorado. I mean, the Colorado foothills, they get crazy amounts of snow.
Yeah, you know, just take it slow, you know, shift your car into a lower gear if you need to, whether, you know, you're coming up to a light and you need to shift down into a lower gear to get a little bit more traction and, you know, stay in that lower gear until, you know, you get going again, and then you can, you know, shift back into drive or a higher gear. You know, if you start to skid or fishtail, turn into the skid. So let's say if you're you're skidding to the right, you turn your wheel to the right. You turn into that, I believe.
Okay.
Yes. So, just take it slow out there. This is, a little bit more traction than just straight ice, but still, we kind of just talked about it, that ice is still under that snow. So even if, it looks better than yesterday morning, it may not be, because we do still have that sheet of ice under the snow.
All right. So, I mean, like you said, two great people to have here for your snow coverage in West Texas. Some people that have lived in places that see a lot more snow than what we do.
I mean, right now, like in Missouri, they're seeing upwards of 8 to 10 inches of snow up there right now. So definitely
That's a
getting on more of the action than we are.
All right. Well, here was a cute picture we showed you yesterday. This is down in Fort Stockton. Paisano Pete, the Roadrunner statue, he's all ready for the cold weather. 11-foot tall Roadrunner that's been there since 1980, welcoming people to Fort Stockton. A woman named Josie knit him a beanie all by herself, actual like wool yarn beanie that she knit together.
Big beanie.
And she knit one for herself as well so they could be matching.
Love that. And it's been cold. And, like we mentioned, even though the precipitation is, coming to an end within the next couple of hours, still going to be very, very cold as we head through our Sunday and into our Monday as well, and really into our Tuesday. We'll kind of touch on what to expect as we head later through the week, coming up later on in this show and later on today. But, still very, very cold once that precipitation comes to an end.
And really dangerously cold out there.
Yes, dangerously cold. We were
Because,
talking yesterday about the wind chill values. It'll take 30 minutes with our wind chill values, for frostbite to set in if you have exposed skin. So, make sure your exposed skin is covered. Stay inside if you can. And, like I mentioned, really just stay inside.
And if you absolutely must go outside, dress in layers. Wear a hat, just like Paisano Pete here. Wear a hat today. Wear a scarf, put on those gloves, wear that extra heavy jacket or coat that you may have not used in a little while. This is some of the coldest temperatures we've really seen all season, at least since I've been here.
Yeah, I've been out here for almost 3 years at this point, and this, of course, is the worst snow that I've seen out here. Even though the snow this morning is kind of nice, it was crunchy snow,
It was.
You sent a video
I took a video.
to our crew, and I was like, ooh, that sounds nice. And so, it's nice to wake up to snow as opposed to that ice. I wish we had just the snow, but at least it's a little bit of a winter wonderland out there this morning.
Yeah, and I mean, if we really think about it here, I mean, we've been broadcasting how freezing rain is like some of the worst precipitation to fall. And we really honestly got a little lucky with this event.
Yes, we did.
Because the freezing rain, like real threats, ended like late Friday night for most areas. And maybe into early Saturday morning, but really most of the day on Saturday was just a sleet and snow mix.
Yeah.
Which kind of helped us out a little bit on those road conditions, I would say. But still, even with the snow, we're still going to stress that it's going to be dangerous for you to be driving out on the road. So even though we're not saying there's ice all over the place, don't take that as the roads are safe.
Yes.
Yeah, so enjoy the snow because it is like that nice, untouched, smooth snow at your own home.
It's enough to make a snowman. So
I think so. I think there is.
Lauren Munt said it doesn't stick very well because it's so dry. It's such a dry
that's
content
fair.
of snow
I
that it
was going
wasn't
to say last
very
time we got
sticky.
snow was even less, and I saw plenty of people making their snowmans.
That was more
but that was
wet,
that was a
yes.
wetter snow.
So-
We were a lot warmer, relatively speaking, closer to that freezing mark, which means we have that wet, slushy snow. This is just that dry,
It's very
powdery
dry.
snow.
I didn't realize we had such many different kinds of snow.
Yes, we do.
Yes, depends on the temperature very much.
Okay, well, we talked about power outages before. Let's show you that actual map from Encore of the outages across our area right now. Like we said, I mean, this is even better than yesterday looking at it. Very few outages. You can see in Odessa, there are no dots. Nothing showing there in Odessa right now as far as power outages. So in Midland, you can see there's a dot there kind of south of Interstate 20 out in Midland County. That says there's about 256 people affected by that outage there. That's off of, there's one off of Rankin Highway, but that one's only literally one person. Closer to Interstate 20, it's about 255 people. They reported the outage around 4 a.m. This morning, and estimate restoration to be around noon. Encore is investigating the cause of that and says they are not repairing just yet. They haven't given that update either. So that's in Midland County for those people there kind of south of the interstate. Then you can see out in Greenwood, there's also a few sporadic ones totaling up to let's see here, about 78 customers affected in Greenwood. They're hoping to have that back on by 10 a.m. And out in Stanton, you can see some power outages as well, but that's again about 2 people, it looks like, or 2 homes.
Well, definitely
businesses.
comparing it to yesterday, sounds like we're on the uptrend here with less individuals being impacted here.
Which is great that things are holding up, because I think the concern is the longer things are frozen over and the longer temperatures stay this cold, that you lose more power. But we're not seeing that.
Well, I did want to mention that I do believe ERCOT is monitoring tomorrow morning for getting close to kind of that threshold on the grid because of very cold temperatures statewide. Even into yesterday evening, other portions of Texas, the Bryan College Station area, the Waco area, they had not yet seen this front roll through their area. So they saw that finally last night, that precipitation. And of course, those temperatures have dropped there as well. And as we saw, this morning, and I pointed out Presidio sitting in the 30s now, as opposed to those 50s where they were at yesterday morning. So just continuing to see those temperatures dropping across the state of Texas, and that is going to keep that demand up as we head into our Monday. So like I mentioned, ERCOT, I do believe, was kind of monitoring tomorrow morning for getting close to that threshold of what the grid can support. So that is something, I'll try and do some research into this morning. And see exactly, what they're saying today, but just something to keep an eye on as we do head into our Monday, because even though that precipitation should be done, for the most part, and we shouldn't see any, weather, quote unquote, related outages, we could see outages because of that high demand and not enough supply.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially considering the forecast. I mean, this will be the coldest night over the past weekend, with temperatures well into the single digits for many locations. And I think most of us will also be sub-zero going into Monday morning. So I think that's going to be the coldest of the air that settles in over the next 10 days. So again, what Sawyer said, there could be some increased demand on the grid.
Okay, let's go to a traffic alert now. I saw this on Facebook, thought it was very interesting. As of 6 p.m. yesterday, Highway 90 is closed from Marfa all the way to Interstate 10 and Van Horn. So, this is a long stretch of road. We're giving you the lower there, but we can take the graphic out, I guess, so you can see the map a little more clearly. But this is a big stretch of road, so there's, you can see where it kind of winds there and connects Alpine to Marfa. But then that whole stretch west and going northwest from Marfa is shut down all the way to Interstate 10. This comes from TxDOT and the Presidio County Sheriff's Office. Alpine police say that the road between Marfa and Alpine, so if you're going east toward Alpine or toward Marathon, that is still open, but that they are monitoring those road conditions in case that gets too icy and people can't make that drive back and forth either. So very interesting that we got that going on. Here's a story that we got from Big Spring yesterday. With those freezing temperatures out there, it's demanding extra care for everyone, and that includes our veterans in need. Texas Veterans Land Board says that its staff, many of whom are veterans themselves, are working around the clock to ensure service members in nursing homes stay warm and safe. First Word 7's Jensen Young spoke with them about their efforts.
The VLB oversees veteran nursing homes across the state, among many other responsibilities. Like many caretaking facilities, they have been planning for the storm for a while. Executive Secretary Tony Dale is confident everything is in place for these veterans to be well taken care of.
As it relates specifically to cold, one of the things that we pride ourselves on at the Veterans Land Board is having homes that are well maintained. We certainly do in Big Spring. It's one of our larger homes. It holds up to 160 residents. But we've got emergency management plans in place that are exercised throughout the course of the year in preparation for this storm, since it's one that it's coming, unlike a tornado that maybe just hits you out of the blue.
There are a lot of resources for veterans in times of need. Whether it's during this storm or any other time during the year, there are many ways to find whatever help is needed.
At the county level, each county is required to have a Veterans Services Officer who is a county employee. They're going to be working in a situation like this very closely with the county judge to make sure that if someone needs assistance, they can be taken care of. So if there's a warming center or something like that that's opened, that's going to be announced through either your city or your county's government, and I would urge people to pay attention to that.
Some other breaking news from yesterday. Around 5 p.m., the Humane Society of Odessa experienced a power outage. This is video they shared on their Facebook. The outage was caused by what they say was a blown main breaker. The shelter went into emergency mode to try and keep those animals warm and safe. They added in extra bedding and closely watched over those animals. Even had volunteers just show up to do what they could. They say that by 9:30 p.m. last night, that breaker had been replaced and they did get power back on. I know there's a lot of people that wanted to, again, volunteer, make donations to help out, because we all love animals and nobody wants them to be cold either. So the Humane Society is thanking the volunteers and people who supported them when they needed it. Again, that was a big deal right there.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's go to Ethan Yost now in the Weather Center with the latest look of our temperatures and conditions across the area. Ethan.
Yes, we are very cold this morning, dangerously cold, I should say, as again, just like yesterday morning, we're all the way down into the single digits, 0 degrees and even negative degree temperatures out there. But I want to take a broad view across the nation because we're really not the only people being affected by this winter storm. So let's take the nationwide satellite and radar view, and you can see all the blue, all the purple, all throughout the country here. And we are back here all the way across West Texas, still starting to see the tail end of that winter storm pushing through. Looks like yet another round will roll through from the west and push through about mid-morning. But it looks like things will be over for West Texas coming up here in the early afternoon. So that's the good news. Besides the cold weather, that's going to stick around here for the next couple of days. But let's take the broad view here, looking across the Pacific Northwest here, the Midwest, I should say. Lots of snow up here, all those deep blues, getting some reports of possible 5 to 8 inches up in portions of Missouri. Also some even higher amounts across northern Kentucky into the Ohio River Valley. But look at all that purple. That is the ice storm that's pushing through the mid-south in the form of freezing rain and sleet all the way from East Texas near Tyler through Shreveport up and towards Little Rock, Arkansas, near Memphis into Tennessee and northwest Mississippi. Pretty significant. They have some ice storms in effect down there. And then down to the south, believe it or not, just ahead of that winter storm, we actually have a severe weather risk for portions of Alabama, including a tornado threat, believe it or not. So a very dynamic winter weather system right here across the nation. And again, we're not the only ones seeing the action. If really, we're kind of on the tail end of everything now. So everything's going to start to wind down here over the next, I would say, 6 hours or so for the most part, but we'll give you a timeline here on the future cast just to give you a bit of an idea of what to expect going into the evening, or excuse me, I should say the afternoon here, because it's still the morning here. But again, lots of blue to the west going to start to make its way eastward throughout the morning. It's going to be a lot more spotty in nature, though. I don't think everybody sees some snow throughout the afternoon, but look at that. By 12 o'clock, noontime, it's very spotty in nature. It's going to be very few and far between, so by probably about 1, 2, maybe 3 o'clock, I think everyone's going to clear out in terms of precipitation. We'll hang on to some clouds for the second half of the day, but look at that, by 6 o'clock in the evening, well, we basically cloud-free, maybe a couple blue skies showing up by sunset. So it's going to be nice. Besides the cold, that's still going to be very cold, especially by tomorrow morning. We'll see wind chills down well below 0. It's going to be dangerously cold. So if you're going to be out and about early tomorrow morning, if you have work or anything like that, make sure you bundle up, add layers to your outfit going into tomorrow morning. But also notice here, early tomorrow morning, we have some what look to be clouds on Futurecast, but it's actually some fog that's expected to develop early on Monday morning, and that is going to possibly lead to reduced visibility going into your Monday morning. So combine the cold, reduced visibility from the fog, and also possible slick spots still on the roads from the remaining ice and snow. It's going to make sure, you're really going to want to make sure you take it slow tomorrow morning, combining all of these effects. But again, precipitation will be done on Monday. So that's the good news. So I don't think that impacts that are remaining are going to get any worse. They should just get better over time.
But it's not going to be warm enough to see that snow or ice that we've had the last few days melt.
Not till Tuesday. It looks like temperatures don't get above freezing until about noontime on Tuesday.
Here, let me skip to our 10-day really quick.
And I guess that's why we're seeing schools cancel for Monday already, is they just know it's not going to get that much better.
Exactly.
Yeah, so here's a look at our First Alert 7 10-day forecast. Today we're looking at a high of about 22 degrees. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll actually hit that. We only hit about 16 yesterday because of that precipitation. So that's what we're looking at. Like I said, hopefully we'll get up there, but even then 22 is very cold. Then 31 coming up for our Monday, and as you can see, kind of denoting that fog there on the First Alert 7 10-day
Is that what that
forecast.
symbol is?
Yes, I don't know. It's whatever our system has. That's what fog is. But then finally seeing some improvement on Tuesday. It's still going to be chilly as we do head into Tuesday morning, 13 degrees, but we are going to see those high temperatures back above freezing, into, about 10 degrees above freezing.
Yeah.
42 degrees for that high Tuesday. Better coming up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I do want to mention that, this is the wrong No, this is the right forecast. Friday, we do have about a 20% chance of showers, whether that is snow or, nope, it's Thursday. Thursday, we have a 20% chance of showers. So we do have some more precipitation back in the forecast later this week. Hopefully going to be more rain than anything, but we could see that switching over to snow or wintry mix as we head into the nighttime hours.
Because our lows are still in the freezing temperatures at those times.
Yes, still below freezing really all this week, single digits, teens, 20s. But, once we see those temperatures dropping back to below that freezing mark, we should see that switch over. Only about a 20% chance, but do want to throw that out there. And the good news is if it does happen, it'll only be that, one day.
Okay, and one more question. Are we going to see the sun pop out today at all? Are we expected to see the sun?
Yes.
Yeah, like I was saying, it looks like possibly around sunset,
Okay.
we'll start to see some peaks
Just as
come
it's
in.
going away. it'll
Just
peak out.
as the sun goes down and everything starts to roll out, we'll go back to the future cast here. Here about 6 o'clock in the evening, you can see that things start to clear out a little bit here, so mid to late evening. So there will be some peaks of sunshine right before the sun sets.
All right, great.
After what feels like forever, right?
Yes, for sure.
And then things will be clear overnight, but that is going to help that fog form as we do head into our Monday.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you, Ethan and Sawyer, for your weather forecasting. Let's go to our team coverage now with our crews live across the area in Odessa, Big Spring, and Andrews. We'll start out once again in Odessa, where First Alert 7's Lauren Munt is outside in our parking lot, just outside of Music City Mall and the First Alert 7 studios. Lauren, what are you doing?
Okay, here's the thing, guys. You've left me to the outside, and I'm going to find some things to do out here. Yesterday, we did some experiments. We froze an egg. That was very, very cold. We have done a lot out here, but yesterday it was not snowy enough to do any of my favorite snow activities, which is building a snowman, having a snowball fight, and sledding. So I spent the morning crafting my First Alert 7 snowmobile here. We've raided some of the boxes here in the studio, and I have a snowmobile, and we have found probably one of the few hills across West Texas, and we're gonna try and go sledding down here. I'm not gonna lie, it was really slick trying to get up here. You can see we were actually on the other side trying to get up, and there's a lot of sliding footprints because that was a steep climb and it was slick. We have mentioned that it's snow on top and that's great traction for your tires, but it is ice on the bottom, which is making for some very slippery, slick road conditions and some very slick hill conditions, which are hopefully ideal for sledding down. I don't know. We're gonna find out here. And then, like I said, these are some of my favorite snow activities. So I think that you guys should have to leave the warm studio at some point today so that we can have a snowball fight, so that you guys can kind of endure some of the stuff I'm going through. But let's see if this actually will sled. Oh no, it does! Wow! That was pretty sick. I'm gonna have to do that a few more times. We're gonna have to get you guys out here. We'll do some more sledding. That was pretty good, actually. That was pretty. I think there's a higher part and a steeper part. I was frankly a little too scared to go down that, but I think that I feel a little more confident. I think we can do it again. We might need to reinforce my box with some tape. I think it might get a little wet, but good snow day activities. We're gonna keep doing those throughout the morning. As long as I'm sitting here outside, we'll have some fun. I don't know. Like I said, we'll get you guys out of that warm studio and bring you out here to do some fun snow activities too in a little bit. Jacob, Sawyer, Ethan, I'm gonna send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Glad you were having fun outside in the snow.
That worked out really well.
It worked much better than I thought it was going to. I thought
Honestly,
the
yes.
cardboard box was going to break
Just
immediately.
flop, yeah.
But it actually did work. All right, let's go to more of our team coverage here. We'll go to Andrews now, where our team of First Alert 7's Sierra Burnett and Rachel Fortunato have been camped out for the last 2 evenings. Rachel, we've been talking about it this morning. We did see a lot more snow yesterday evening and overnight.
Yeah, so here in Andrews, we got a lot of snow last night. This ground is there's a lot more snow than there was last night. There's only a little chance of snow today at around 10 o'clock so far. It is about 10 degrees out here right now. It feels about 4, but there's no current winds. Without the wind, it seems to make it feel just a little bit nicer every time. Now, we do have people starting to come down for breakfast. Like I said earlier, we had a lot of people who either called to make a reservation in case power went out or did actually come to this hotel to not deal with those issues and also has to stay an extra night. So this hotel is a little bit busier than it was yesterday, but many people are staying safe and staying out of the cold. There's a street behind me. You can see we have one car right now, but we have not really seen anyone yesterday or today on that road. Just a few people, thankfully, driving very slowly. A lot of people are out Friday trying to stock up and get everything they need so they don't have to leave the house during these conditions. We'll have more from Andrews a little later. For First Light 7 News, I'm Rachel Fortunato.
All right, Rachel, thank you very much. She did look cold. Her face, we're a little worried for Rachel. She looks a little red.
And I noticed her jacket wasn't zipped, so maybe we can get that mitigated.
Some cold weather tips for Rachel there. Zip the jacket, that'll help. Although
Yes.
the beauty of this is, one, we're keeping our reporters safe because we did send them out Friday around noon to drive to these cities before it ever started raining or things to help keep them safe with that they'd be in place where they were reporting from before the severe weather began. And now they've been able to just camp out at these hotels and just kind of stay safe there. We did that for our crew in Big Spring as well. First Alert 7's Jensen Young has woken up early there in Big Spring to join us. And there's Jensen live out in Big Spring. What are you seeing out there, Jensen?
Well, Jacob, I'm glad to have my jacket zipped up because that definitely makes a bit of a difference. It's not too windy at the moment. Honestly, probably the best way that I can describe it is still. Very quiet at this point. Obviously, because it's very early in the morning, but as is. Not a lot of snowfall at the moment. No, not much wind at the moment. I think only one person so far has left the parking lot since I've been out here at 6 o'clock. So very still, not a lot of movement in any form, whether it's people or the actual weather itself. So that's how it's currently looking out here at Big Spring. I said at 6 o'clock that I would take a look at how the snow is. It is a bit more than there has been since I have gotten here to Big Spring, as you said, on Friday afternoon. So I want to see how much I can pick up just to kind of give you a look at it. So this is one handful that I was able to get. So definitely enough to be able to fully pick up here, but not a whole lot yet. I don't know if we'll end up getting some more today. I think that would be a lot of fun if we did. I do enjoy some snowfall, even though I am from Florida, and that is something I never experienced while I live in Florida. But I've now experienced it twice in West Texas in just about a month's time. So how about that? A lot of fun for me. So good time to go play in the snow. If you have a zipped up jacket, definitely the biggest suggestion that I could give you is to zip up your jacket, dress warmly, and make sure that you are fully prepared for all of the weather. Anyways, that's how it's looking in Big Spring. Very cold, but not a lot of movement in terms of wind, and a lot more snow than there has been at any point so far this weekend and over the course of this storm. So I'm going to toss back to you guys in the studio in Big Spring for First Alert 7 News. I'm Jensen Young.
All right, Jensen, great job. Appreciate your coverage out there. Our crews will be there in place, giving you more of those live coverage throughout the morning, at least throughout the morning here. We're kind of monitoring things. We're not sure how long our coverage will extend throughout the day before we get you kind of back to your regularly scheduled stuff. We will be getting you back to your programming here at 7 a.m. approximately, get you back to your regular CBS morning programming. But we will continue live streaming for the next 2 hours after that till about 9 a.m., monitoring the latest conditions with Ethan and Sawyer, and checking in with our reporters live out in the field as well. And of course, we encourage you, go to our website and our social media pages. FirstAlert7.com has the latest news and weather information. Our Facebook page is constantly being updated with live streams, live shots, the latest maps and warnings, outages, things like that. Closings is a big one we've talked about. We'll tell you about that a little bit more here in a little bit. But school closings, church closings, as we get those, and you can find that all on FirstAlert7.com. And we have 2 apps that are free to download, Apple, Google, whatever, for news and weather. 2 separate apps that you can use to get those things as well.
Yeah, the First Alert 7 weather and news app, are free in those app stores, and especially with our weather app, we update those personally, or at least for, the Midland Odessa area, but still, better than that Apple weather app, because those just take one output from one model and run with it the whole time.
Yeah, fun fact actually about the Apple weather app, is it's actually completely automated. There's
Ethan
no
doesn't
actual
like it.
human behind the actual forecast. So, we do highly recommend against using that, not just for the fact that we want you guys to use our app here, but it's literally because the forecasts are a lot less accurate on your Apple weather app. And so if you're looking for the most up-to-date information, most accurate information, download our First Alert 7 weather app.
Yes.
It's changed the way I check weather after Ethan told me about the Apple Weather map.
No, it's been me.
Or app, I should say.
It's been me who's
It's both,
gotten on you
both
for
of you. It's
it.
both of you, really. I mean, but that's the thing. As a meteorologist, will let you know that that Apple Weather app that is so convenient. You just click on, but use the First Alert 7 one, and you can
think
use
I
it any
deleted it.
location too. We talked about this the other day. You don't have to be in Odessa or Pecos or whatever for it to work.
Nope.
It'll update to your live location. If you're in Chicago or Florida or wherever, it'll give you the weather there as well.
I was going to say, I think I've deleted the Apple Weather app from my phone, quite honestly.
Wow, a battle.
Yes.
All right, well, let's go to some of the news headlines from yesterday. As Ector County continues to endure this winter weather, Judge Dustin Fawcett has declared a local state of disaster. Judge Fawcett sent a letter to Governor Greg Abbott stating the potential impact of this weather is a threat to the local residents. Fawcett is requesting this proclamation be issued and remain in effect until the weather starts to lighten up. And of course, this will give us access to that state funding to help deal with this winter storm. Mayor Cal Hendrick of Odessa also declared a local state of disaster yesterday. In their news release, they say this will be in place for at least 7 days, unless the city of Odessa renews it for longer after that. This declaration activates the City Emergency Operations Plan, which now takes effect immediately. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, they got famous, of course, back in 2021, has issued a weather watch and weather alert for the next several days as the winter storm affects most of our state. That means ERCOT expects increased power demand with everybody at home and using their heat, and the possibility of low power backups. Network connections are expected to remain normal. You're asked to conserve energy at this time. Again,
No, you are not asked to conserve energy.
Oh, you're not asked. Oh, great. Okay, that's good. Good. Thanks for catching that.
You're welcome.
I mean, normally they do ask people to conserve energy, but that's okay. So that's good. ERCOT is confident enough in the power grid that you do not have to conserve energy at this time. I mean, you don't leave all the lights on in the house or everything, but use your heat, watch TV, enjoy that time at home, because right now power outages seem to be pretty minimal here, at least in our area, and really across the state, not very bad either. Of course, we'll continue to follow this. ERCOT says that their watch and alert will expire on Tuesday. And we do want to stress this, of course, if you have to drive, be careful out on the roads. Texas Department of Transportation shared these pictures on Facebook of a crash that happened here in Odessa. It says that a semi crashed into one of their snow plows on I-20. This was yesterday morning. Fortunately, they say the driver is okay, but a reminder to give crews space to work. Do not get close to the snow plows or other vehicles, emergency vehicles, of course. We talked about with Ector County Sheriff Griffiths yesterday that their deputies are out on the roads monitoring conditions. Let people work. If you don't have to be anywhere, don't go anywhere. Just stay home. If you have to travel, use that extreme caution. Ethan said, brake very gently, speed up very slowly, keep those speeds low, and give lots of distance between you and any other vehicle.
Yes.
And speaking of traffic out on the roads, here's a traffic alert. As of 6 p.m. yesterday, Highway 90 is closed from Marfa all the way up to Van Horn and Interstate 10. So a very large stretch of road here just to the west of our area. This is coming from TxDOT and the Presidio County Sheriff's Office. Alpine police say that the road between Marfa and Alpine, so there, that blue line, if you were to go east from there toward Alpine, that is still open as of the last update from the Alpine Police Department, but they say they are monitoring road conditions in case that needs to change as well. And we did tell you about school closures. We've already gotten several of those in. All IDEA public school campuses here in the Permian Basin will be closed on Monday. That is tomorrow. So that's IDEA Yukon, IDEA Travis, and all IDEA public school campuses will be closed. Officials say they'll be monitoring weather and update their staff and families as needed. Here's a big one. Midland ISD announced yesterday afternoon that they will be closing all their schools and district offices on Monday. They say they've got a plan for a bad weather makeup day on Friday, March 6th. That would have just been an off day from school, but now they will have to go to school that day. But you get your off day tomorrow. So Midland ISD, enjoy that. Maybe go play in the snow. They will provide updates through email and their Facebook page as well as their website. And of course, we'll continue to update you here on First Alert 7. Another closure, this one in Odessa for Compass Academy. They have already canceled all their classes tomorrow as well. Their campuses and offices will be closed. And again, you can find all of the latest closures for schools and churches, things like that today. Maybe you're curious about on firstalert7.com. I know a lot of you are wondering about Ector County ISD in Odessa. So many of our students and parents, families affected by that. We have not heard from them. They are, of course, I think, following conditions today, and we'll have an update hopefully later today, but they do always 5 a.m. morning of could also put that out. So you may need to tune in to Wake Up West Texas tomorrow morning and check the First Alert 7 Facebook page and website for Ector County ISD on whether or not they'll be having school tomorrow or not. Let's take a look at some viewer pictures from across West Texas just to get you more of a perspective and a view of what we're seeing here across our area. Here it looks like to be Odessa. Some snowy pictures out there.
Yeah, and we encourage you to send more of them throughout today, as these were from yesterday. So as you wake up this morning, if you are going to be out and about, which we don't recommend, but if you are out, maybe you're just outside your front porch, take some pictures of what you're seeing, maybe how much snow's on the ground, you know, all that. Send that to our website, firstalert7.com. We have a content tab on there where you can share those images, and then we can display them here on live TV for you.
Yeah, right on the homepage it says submit photo and video right there on the top line. So you can just click on that and it'll tell you what to do there, so you can have your pictures sent in, and then they'll be featured on our website too. So that's the nice thing. You can go there and click and see pictures that you've put in or that other people have submitted. So if you want to see more winter weather pictures or videos from across our area, go to that tab there on the First Alert 7 website. And that's a good point, Ethan. Yeah, let's see some from today because there's even more snow out on the ground this morning.
Yeah. I can only imagine how locally different it's going to be, because I've only stepped out in Odessa today, but I mean, locally there should be some heavier pockets of snow out there, so we'd like to see that and maybe get some of those reports in.
Who do you think got the most snow like yesterday and overnight?
From the time that I was up, it looked like there was a heavy band moving just to this right along Midland and Odessa and south, so maybe like just along and south of I-20. It looks like a lot of the heavy snow came in last night, but overall across the entire event, that's hard to say. It looked like most of the snow across the entire weekend has been to our north, like northwestern counties, southeast New Mexico, over towards the Guadalupes, northern Permian Basin. But once we get some of those reports in by the end of the weekend, we'll actually be able to give you an exact observation on those snow totals.
Well, and of course, you know, send in how much snow you have. You know, we have been trying to find a ruler, something to measure the snow outside here at First Alert 7. But if you can do that at your house, please find a level, you know, thing, whether it's the ground, you know, a table.
Flat surface.
Yes,
That's
a
a
flat
scientific term?
That's
No.
something that's above the ground and is not the grass. So do not use your yard, do not use your grass to measure the snow. Make sure it's an elevated, flat surface, and then just stick your roller straight in there, and then you can measure it there. And you can also send us the pictures of your ruler measurement on firstalert7.com, and we can get those reports in to our local National Weather Service.
Yes.
Look, everyone helping each other out. We mentioned ERCOT and power outages, so let's go to the Encore outage map. Right now across the entire state of Texas, they say there are about 624 outages affecting about 21,000 people, which is a lot. But out of the 4 million plus that they serve here in Texas, 21,000 is not bad. And again, that's mostly East Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area. Here in our area, you can see here to look at the outages right now in our area, and I mean, it's hardly any, which is great news. In Odessa, there's none being reported right now. In Midland there, just kind of south of Interstate 20, there's about 164 people being affected. So that's kind of off of Rankin Highway and off of, what road is that? South County Road 1210 is where we're seeing like the most power outages in Midland, about 163 people there. They're off of County Road 1210, like I said. That was reported around 4 a.m. that they did not have power.
And we don't know the reason behind these.
Does not say. It says Encore's investigating for that one, and they estimate restoration to be around noon for those people. So hopefully they can get their power on quicker than that. Out in Greenwood, you can see there's a little green dot out there in Greenwood. That's about 77 people. They say that is because of adverse weather.
Okay.
That was reported about an hour and a half ago, about 5 a.m. this morning. They are in the process of preparing that, Encore says, and estimated restoration for those people out in Greenwood is 11:30 a.m. But on the whole, I mean, that is only, 250 or so people in our entire area dealing with power outages right now.
A lot less than what we were seeing yesterday morning.
Even yesterday,
and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that yesterday we did see more ice accumulations, and obviously the ice is a lot, more prone to accumulating on those power lines, which can break the power lines, causes power outages. And of course, we just saw some regular old power outages from other adverse effects. Maybe some of the wind gusts on Friday night caused those. But generally, I think we're seeing that improvement just because we're seeing mainly snow now. So that's the good news. And everyone can now stay toasty and warm in their homes. So that's the great news to hear.
For sure. All right, well, let's go to some of our iCams, kind of take a tour across West Texas. Sawyer's gone back over to the Weather Center, and we'll start out in Odessa.
Yeah, so we've kind of shown this a couple times this morning. As you can see in Winter Wonderland here in Odessa, as you can see, the roads do have snow. They are snow covered. I do believe maybe we got a ½ inch to an inch here in Odessa. What do you think, Ethan?
Yeah, generally across most areas that I've seen.
Yeah, but it is covering the ground, giving a little bit more traction today. However, there is still that ice underneath that snow that we saw yesterday. So still take your time on the roads this morning and stay in if you can. Here's a look at Midland. We do actually have our Midland cam this morning, so that's the good news. It did, get cleared off yesterday, after it was frozen over. So here's a look at the iCam in Midland. This is toward I-20, and of course, the interstates were pre-treated before this storm, but pretty dead. There's nobody out there on I-20, which is kind of interesting at this time of day because usually when I'm in, it's on a weekday and people are headed off to work, to school. So, but still take your time on those interstates, even though they have been pre-treated before the storm, and they are a little bit, more high, I would say, traffic, areas. But still take your time, give yourself time to get to where you're going safely this morning if you do have to be out, and, reduce your speed, increase your braking distance, braking time as well, and just, think about yourself, get to where you need to go safely because, we don't want anything to happen to anybody as they are headed out on the roads this morning and really coming up tomorrow morning as well, because we are going to see those temperatures still well below freezing as we head through today and into our Monday, and that is not going to melt anything. And if anything does melt today with that snow, it could definitely refreeze again as we do head into our Monday morning. So that is something to keep in mind coming up tomorrow, because it could be a little bit more slick even still because of the, freezing and refreezing. And then of course that snow is going to get compacted, and that is going to compact into ice.
So I looked away for a moment. This is still looking at Midland's iCam?
Yes, I have not changed it.
Okay, looking at Interstate 20.
Look at that, though.
I saw
there's
one car
nothing.
going by, but it seems like not many people out this morning on the interstate.
Yes. Sadly, our Andrews cam is still frozen and or iced over, along with our Big Spring cam.
Yeah, certainly.
We have no improvement on those. So
Good morning, Andrews.
not sure what happened with our Midland cam because it looks much better. But let's go back to Pecos this morning. Pecos has some snow as well, so we'll look at I-20 there, and we can actually see the roadway with that one. Not terribly snow covered. What lanes are those?
That would be westbound
Yeah.
is where that vehicle's headed.
The westbound lanes are a little bit more snow covered than the eastbound lanes, it looks like. But still seeing some snow on the road and potentially some ice underneath that. So still take your time, like we mentioned. And of course, the service road, I guess, is pretty snow covered as well.
Honestly, I don't even know if that's westbound, so I was just guessing. My whole perspective of this cam could be off, but I believe that's right. Not that it really matters.
I believe we're
guess.
looking to the northeast.
Okay. So that would make sense then.
I think they're swapped, quite honestly. I think going away from us is westbound. I think coming towards us is eastbound. However, don't quote me on that.
Well, either way, there's your look at Pecos this morning, where you can see snow on the ground there and not many people out on the interstate yet this morning.
We also do have our Fort Stockton cam, but that looks pretty frozen over as well. Then we do have our Presidio cam. Not much going on there. However, it is not frozen over, but it is much colder than we were seeing there at this time yesterday. So it is into the 30s there for our far southern counties across the region. But let's go back to Odessa, which of course is our kind of clearest view and our snowiest view, at least, that we have with our iCam system this morning.
It does look pretty. I will give it that. When it snows, it's pretty. And I think it's like a psychological thing. Anytime there's actual snow falling or snow on the ground, you don't feel as cold when you're outside.
Do you get that
Does
feeling?
anyone else experience that? Again, you guys are a little more used to snow than us living out here in West Texas. But I think for Texans, that's something that happens. Like, well, if it's going to be this cold, I at least want to have the snow because it's nice to look at and you can do things
Oh,
with
no,
it.
that's
Improve
definitely,
my mood.
yes.
I will say that.
Maybe it's a mood thing. Okay.
And maybe the mood's warming you up, Jacob.
That might be what I'm feeling. Yes.
But yes, I agree. It makes the cold more enjoyable.
Yes.
Except it does make travel more hazardous. So there's a kind of a
Yes.
a
Middle
advantage
ground
and a
there, yeah.
disadvantage. But of course, very cold out there combining the snow. So it's a little bit of an advantage.
Or if you live in one of these places where they don't cancel work and they don't cancel school when it snows, and you have to go out into it every day and scrape off your car and wipe off the snow and put on your 5 layers, that I think would get old very quickly.
Yes, and those were plenty of days back in Missouri for myself. I can imagine Sawyer has dealt with that plenty of times. There'd be like entire weeks where I'd have to get up extra early to make sure I'm heating up my car for an extra amount of time, scraping off all that ice daily. And like it just takes that extra bit of effort every morning that when you're going to school or work or whatever it is.
Plow the roads, plow the driveway, all those things that we
And then
we don't think about.
Like full weeks we'll get snow up in Missouri and you have to constantly shoveling your driveway. I mean, at least we don't got to deal with that down here on a daily basis.
I don't even have a shovel out here, which is kind of sad.
I
but
have to be like Lauren and improvise something. We'll have like a pizza box, like moving the snow out of the driveway.
you can use a broom to, especially with this snow because it's so
with
fluffy.
A dusting,
yeah.
That would actually be a lot more useful, I feel like, than a shovel with a dusting.
Well, as these below freezing temperatures continue to take over the state, the dangerous cold demands extra care for everyone, and that includes our veterans. The Texas Veterans Land Board says that its staff, many of whom are veterans themselves, are working around the clock to ensure service members in their nursing homes stay warm and safe. First Alert 7's Jensen Young has this story from Big Spring.
The VLB oversees veteran nursing homes across the state, among many other responsibilities. Like many caretaking facilities, they have been planning for the storm for a while. Executive Secretary Tony Dale is confident everything is in place for these veterans to be well taken care of.
As it relates specifically to cold, one of the things that we pride ourselves on at the Veterans Land Board is having homes that are well maintained. And we certainly do in Big Spring. It's one of our larger homes. It holds up to 160 residents. But we've got emergency management plans in place that are exercised throughout the course of the year in preparation for this storm, since it's one that you know it's coming, unlike a tornado that maybe just hits you out of the blue.
There are a lot of resources for veterans in times of need. Whether it's during this storm or any other time during the year, there are many ways to find whatever help is needed.
At the county level, each county is required to have a veteran services officer who is a county employee. They're going to be working in a situation like this very closely with the county judge to make sure that if someone needs assistance, they can be taken care of. So if there's a warming center or something like that that's opened, that's going to be announced through either your city or your county's government, and I would urge people to pay attention to that.
All right, thank you, Jensen, for that report. Of course, we've had him reporting live from Big Spring this morning as well on conditions there. So we've seen a lot more snow come down overnight.
Yeah, we did have a lot of snowfall across the region. It did transition from that sleet kind of yesterday evening into snow area-wide because of our temperatures just continuing to drop. The good news is it is kind of that dry, fluffy snow because of how cold the temperatures are out there. Not a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Here's a look at live radar this morning where we are still continuing to hang on to some areas of snow for portions of southeast New Mexico, pushing into the northern Permian Basin. And even then, we are looking at some heavier pockets of snow denoted by those dark blues rolling into Seminole. And then, Andrews, maybe we'll have to check in with Rachel and Sierra coming up later today to see if this pocket of snow off to their west rolls into Andrews coming up later on. But still seeing some very, scattered areas or isolated areas of that snowfall even across the Midland Odessa area. We do once again have that winter storm warning that does continue until 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon today for pretty much all of our region. For, very minimal additional accumulations. However, like we mentioned, we could continue to see snowfall through the afternoon hours. Still expect slick roads and possible power outages along with possible tree damage, but I think we are kind of done with that tree damage threat. Then, still very, very cold, and this does continue coming up until Monday morning as well. So this extreme cold warning for these areas highlighted in this dark blue for dangerously cold wind chill values. Wind chill values as low as 7 degrees below zero. So cover exposed skin, limit time outside, and dress in layers along with this cold weather advisory. And this is a little bit warmer, but still rather chilly, especially for those southern portions of the region with wind chill values between 0 degrees and 10 degrees above zero. Here's a look at our current temperatures where we are seeing those temperatures ranging from the teens to the 30s. Even our southern portions of the region have dropped into those 30s this morning. They were sitting in the 50s yesterday morning, but 12 degrees in Midland, 13 here in Odessa. Wind chill values anywhere from 4 below in Big Spring. We'll have to check in with the boys and see how that's feeling. Feels like 33 even in Presidio, but Marfa down to 9. Feels like a whopping 0 in Midland and at Midland International. Like I mentioned yesterday, of course, our sensor is down here in Odessa, but I'd expect it to be around that 0 degree mark as well for that wind chill value here.
It is really cold.
Yeah, and just going to continue to get colder as we do head into our Monday morning as
And
well.
we keep stressing it's dangerously cold
Yes.
because just 30 minutes out there with bare skin, it can lead to frostbite.
And that's the beauty of our reporters kind of coming inside, outside their hotel, is that they can get out of it, not standing out there this whole morning.
Yes.
All right. Well, we appreciate you watching us here this morning here on First Alert 7. We'll continue our coverage live on our digital platforms, YouTube, Facebook Live, our app, our website, all streaming live on there for the next 2 hours as we bring you the latest weather. We'll return you now to your programming. Thank you for watching.
Now an update from the First Alert 7 Weather Center.
All right, thank you for joining us back here on our live stream across our platforms here on First Alert 7. We're should be live. Sorry, was the live stream working on the website? This is Facebook.
Oh, that is Facebook. Okay, cool.
Okay, so we should be live on all platforms now.
don't know
We're
what
on
it says.
Facebook, YouTube, our website, and our app. All different ways you can watch the news. Even if you don't have TV, you can watch us live there. And we're going to go for about the next 2 hours or so here in the studio, as well as our live crews that are braving the elements out across the West Texas area to bring you the latest on conditions and how things are outside so that you can just stay home and stay safe. Sawyer, what are we seeing right now with the weather?
Yeah, we are continuing to hang on to some snowfall across portions of the region, mainly the northern Permian Basin this morning and southeast New Mexico, and even still dealing with some heavier pockets of snowfall as denoted by those darker blues here on radar, and I can point those out coming up in just a second. But yeah, we are continuing to hang on to some snowfall across portions of the region this morning. And like I mentioned, some heavier pockets of snowfall, especially rolling into Seminole this morning and across portions near Hobbs as well and Eunice. Andrews may be seeing some snow, and then very isolated pockets across the Permian Basin. Can you shift down a little bit, Ethan? Midland, Odessa, a little bit more central. Yeah, so still some very isolated pockets of snowfall across the Midland, Odessa area and then eastern portions of the Permian Basin. But that biggest area of snowfall this morning is going to be across northern portions of the Permian Basin into southeast New Mexico. We are still looking to see some snowfall continuing as we head through today, and I'll get to that in just a moment. That winter storm warning does continue through 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Central Time today for the areas highlighted in pink. Snow for most, with areas of light freezing rain south of I-10 today because those temperatures have dropped there, with additional accumulations of up to 2 inches of snow. I do think it's going to be, a dusting, give or take, for most, and a light glaze of ice possible, especially for those areas south of I-10. Then an extreme cold warning, and that is in effect coming up through 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Central Time on Monday for those areas in blue. For dangerously cold wind chills expected, about 30 minutes with exposed skin outside, and you can get frostbite. Wind chill values as low as 7 degrees below zero. Then that cold weather advisory, and that does continue until 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Central Time on Monday as well for those areas in blue. So kind of our southwestern and western portions of the region. Wind chills there anywhere between 0 and 10 degrees. Looking at our current temperatures, we are hanging on to temperatures ranging from the teens, 10 degrees in Lamesa, to the 30s in Presidio. So those temperatures have dropped, like I mentioned, for southern portions of the region. 12 degrees currently in Midland, 13 degrees here in Odessa. Those wind chill values are also rather chilly this morning, with those wind chill values ranging from -4 in Big Spring. And we're going to go out to our crew out there coming up later on in the show, and we'll ask them how it's feeling out there because it is rather chilly, to feeling like 38 in Presidio, sitting at a whopping 0 degrees in Midland and at Midland International Air and Spaceport for that wind chill value. I do want to highlight we are not the only ones affected by this Arctic air. As you can see, those temperatures across the country ranging from a -9 for that actual air temperature in Minneapolis to, even Houston sitting at 34 this morning. Presidio, like I said, was in the 30s. So very, very cold temperatures, across Texas, ranging from 5 in Amarillo to a little bit warmer the further south you head. And this is kind of a little bit of a mess. So I do want to highlight this as well. This is the satellite and radar view of the country. And as you can see, dealing with some snow, some rain, some freezing rain. So all of those precipitation types that we saw here, the past couple of days have now shifted east, and a good portion of the country is being affected by this winter storm. Like I mentioned, we are in a little bit of a lull, but we are looking to see some more precipitation as we head through today. Very minimal amounts of accumulations expected, except for potentially across the northern Permian Basin into southeast New Mexico, where we're still seeing some heavier pockets of snow. But we should see things clearing out overall by this evening, and even some sun possible before that sunset coming up by about 6 tonight. Then we are looking at clear skies overnight, but with all this snow, this ice on the ground, we are looking to see some fog forming as we do head into our Monday and Monday morning, with that sticking around through about 9-10 tomorrow. So we could see some issues with visibility coming up tomorrow morning, as well as those very cold temperatures. Like I mentioned, we are looking to see that snow continuing through the morning hours, and high temperatures today ranging from the 20s to the 50s. 22 for Midland and Odessa, 26 for Pecos, 25 for Fort Stockton, Stockton, 54 for Presidio. So still seeing that range in temperatures as we head through today. We'll see if we do reach these 20s. Yesterday, we didn't even get out of the mid-teens across the Midland-Odessa area. So we'll see if we can warm up that much coming up later on. But maybe once that precipitation ends, we'll start to warm up just a little bit. Even, like I mentioned, though, for our southern portions of the region, going to be on the chilly side, 54 for Presidio, and winds will be light. But like we mentioned yesterday, the colder your actual air temperature is, the less wind it takes for it to be, rather cold with those wind chill values. Coming up tonight, expect that fog with those lows sitting in the single digits to the 20s, even in Presidio, as we do head into our Monday morning. 2 degrees overnight for Big Spring, 7 for Midland, 8 for Odessa. So still going to be very chilly. And here's a look at our forecast wind chills coming up tomorrow morning. Look at that, -12 possible in Big Spring, -1 for Midland and Odessa. So going to be very, very cold coming up tomorrow morning, even though it's already cold this morning and was cold yesterday morning as well. And that is why that extreme cold, warning does continue into our Monday morning. So even though the precipitation does look to be done for now for most as we head throughout our Sunday, we are going to see those temperatures still very cold and dangerously cold as we do head into our Monday morning. So, if as you are headed out to work tomorrow, especially if you are in the oil field, where you do have to be outside, please, 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 wear layers, wear those gloves, cover that exposed skin, because just 30 minutes in those temperatures can cause frostbite.
All right, for sure. Good advice there, Sawyer, and thank you for that forecast. Now let's check on the conditions actually out there live and in person with our teams that have spread out across the area in Odessa, Andrews, and Big Spring to bring you the latest on this winter storm. We will start here in Odessa, right outside the First Alert 7 studios and outside of Music City Mall. First Alert 7's Lauren Munt is out there. Lauren, how are conditions right now?
Jacob, conditions are very cold right now, but I do have a friend who might be better at telling us exactly how cold those temperatures are. Guys, this is Larry. Larry, he doesn't say much, but he's very cold, as am I, as we sit out here on this little stoop outside the First Alert 7 studios in the snow. I did check off my second activity on my snow day checklist, which is build a snowman. Not exactly the best conditions for snowman building, but we did get one done. Right, Larry? Yeah, he really doesn't say much. But, again, very cold temperatures. We do have a ruler out here so we can see, again, just only a small snowman kind of day, because we are seeing not as much snowfall as we would like for a big snowman. I think that meteorologist Ethan Yost said to just stick that on a flat surface. I don't know. Can we zoom in there, Luke? What does that look like? Can you read that? It doesn't look like that's much snow, and I'm not sure it's even touched. Let's see if we can get right here. I don't think it's even a ½ inch. I don't know if we're measuring this correctly. We might need a better ruler. Yeah, I really don't think that's even... Let's go one more time. That's like not even... I don't think we're measuring it correctly. Jacob just said it. We're not measuring it correctly. Okay, we'll find another ruler. That was the best we could find. Not doing a very good job here, but we can look around and see there's just not, it's a good layer of snow, but it's not like we're getting crazy amounts of inches, but a good enough amount to have a good snow day and check off some of those activities that you can do. I mean, we went sledding earlier, the snowman now. I think we might have a snowball fight in a little bit. We might drag Jacob Brandenburg out here in just a few minutes. But, all right, we'll go ahead and send it back to you guys in studio so that we can warm up and get back inside with you guys.
All right, Lauren, thank you. We do appreciate the effort, and no, I will not be going outside. Sawyer, you volunteered that you'd go out, though.
I'll go outside once again. We'll have to get meteorologist Ethan Yost back here on the desk and to do weather, but I'll go back outside this morning and maybe measure the snow. She was making it a little bit more complicated than it should have been.
Well, one, have an actual ruler, not the, triangle there would probably help.
I don't know if we have one. We'll have to scour
We'll have
the
to find a
station for
ruler.
one.
Or Ethan had the good idea. If you're at home, you've probably got a ruler or measuring tape. You can go measure the snow yourself. But you said it needs to be an elevated surface and just measure it that way.
Yeah, so like at my house back in Colorado, we use our fire pit because our fire pit has a cover on it and it's, flat. It's, an elevated surface. It's about, 2-3 feet off the ground. And that's where we usually measure our snow. So don't measure it from the top of your car. Don't measure it from your hood. Don't measure it from your trash can. My dad's tried to do that before. I'm like, Dad, no. You know better than this. If you do have a grill, maybe, like the side of the grill where like the tools go,
Right,
or
okay.
where you like put the marinated meat.
Although hopefully you didn't leave your grill out in the snow. also
in
that
Colorado
was
we
covered
do.
or under the
Oh, in Colorado we do.
porch or
I don't
something,
know. But yeah, so that's sometimes where we measure as well. But you know, the ground's not too bad of a place, but you know, it can drift there on the ground as well. So, you know, an elevated surface is the best place to do that, and away from a building, of course, because that can impact how much snow has, you know, accumulated on the ground, and then, you know, not. Yeah.
Okay, there's your measuring snow breakdown. Let's go up to Andrews, where they got a lot of snow overnight and maybe seeing some more this morning.
Yeah, you know, I talked about that. Looking at radar, we do have that snow still off to the west in southeast New Mexico, but looking to roll into Seminole and the Andrews area coming up in just a couple of, you know, the hour or so. So maybe seeing some more snow there. Rachel, what are you seeing in Andrews this morning?
Yeah, so out here in Andrews, we are outside our hotel in front of one of our news cars. As you can see, this snow is pretty much all from last night. We do have a slight update for you guys. Temperatures have started to drop. We are at 9 degrees now. Feels like about 3 out here. Wind has picked up, and we're expecting snow in about the next 30 minutes. So that's only snow we have coming up really soon, but just want to alert you guys to that. We still don't see a ton of cars on the road, and we do recommend you guys continue to stay off those. There's still a lot of snow and a lot of ice on those roadways. Now, we do have some people in the hotel getting up and everything. More people seeing if they need to stay an extra night. More people possibly extending their stay and staying here just so they don't have to deal with things like a blackout of power or even frozen water lines. So we will have more of an update on that later this evening. For First Alert 7 News, I'm Rachel Fortunato.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Let's go out to Big Spring now, where First Alert 7's Jensen Young's been standing by, waiting through everyone else's live shots out there in the cold. In Big Spring, one of the coldest spots that we're actually seeing this morning. Sawyer, Jensen, what does it feel like to actually be out there?
Well, it definitely feels like one of the coldest spots. I can't necessarily give my personal feel for anywhere else in West Texas, but it is definitely cold here. You guys were talking about some snow measurements earlier. I'm going to go ahead and give the unofficial Jensen measurement, which is sticking your finger in the snow. Let's see. Looks to be about that much. So we'll call it about an inch, maybe. A lot of snow accumulation overnight. You can see here on this bush as well. A lot of it collecting on the plants here around the hotel. But yes, definitely a lot of snow, enough to really to kind of swish your feet around in and take note of it. It's not just a very thin layer like it kind of had been the prior 2 days with the ice and the snow. But now it's enough to really get your hand in and grab some and actually, I mean, you know what? Let me do that again. That was a lot of fun last time. You know, a lot of snow that you can kind of grab in there and throw up in the air. How about that? Go have some fun in the snow. If you make a snowman, be sure to send it to us for First Alert 7. We would love to see your your snowmen or your snow angels. If you do that, that might be a good idea to do at some point. Make a little snow angel. Anyways, if you haven't looked outside your window yet, this is probably what it looks like. We are outside so that you don't have to be, unless you absolutely, want to be, because it is pretty enjoyable with all the snow. Pretty quiet still here in Big Spring at about 7 a.m. here, a little bit after, I guess, at this point. Not a lot of action on the interstate, not a lot of action here in the hotel parking lot. Everyone's kind of quiet and hunkering down, it seems. So definitely a good idea to make sure that you are doing that. I'm going to go ahead and head back inside to get some hot breakfast here at this hotel and hunker inside myself. So I'm going to toss it back to you guys in the studio, reporting in Big Spring in the snow. I love it. For First Alert 7 News, I'm Jensen Young.
All right, Jensen, thank you. He is from Florida, but Sawyer, you said he does enjoy winter sports.
Yeah, you know, he does love to ski and snowboard. He goes and does that where it actually snows, more than here, but he's probably enjoying the snow out there this morning, and I know I'm enjoying it, so I'll probably have to go out and play in the snow later on and see if I can make a snow angel or something in our parking lot.
All right. Well, you can all stay up to date on this winter storm by downloading the First Alert 7 mobile news and weather apps. Those are both free in the Apple App Store and Google Play. You can also follow along on the First Alert 7 Facebook page for that latest information. We do see some of you, that's how you're watching us right now on this live stream. You're watching either along on Facebook or on YouTube or using that First Alert 7 News app using the live stream feature there to see us live, bringing you this coverage here exclusively on our streaming platforms. So this is really cool that we're able to still, even when we're not on TV, You can still get all your latest news and weather on all these different spots.
On the go.
And Jensen mentioned, send us your pictures of snowmen or other things. There is a tab right on the homepage of our website, firstalert7.com. It says submit photo or videos. Just go and you'll put your name and your photo where you took it. Send it in, and we will put that on our website for everybody else to see, too. You can click on those pictures, scroll through everybody's winter weather photos from across our area, and then, of course, we can share those on TV as well. So be sure to submit some of those things as well. Let's go to the news headlines of the day. As Ector County is enduring this winter weather, Judge Dustin Fawcett, the Ector County judge, has declared a local state of disaster. Judge Fawcett sent a letter to Governor Greg Abbott stating the potential impact of this weather. It's a threat to our residents. Fawcett is requesting this proclamation be issued and remain in effect until the weather starts to lighten up. That would also give us access to state funding to deal with these issues. Mayor Cal Hendrick of Odessa also declared a local state of disaster. According to the city, this will be in place for at least 7 days unless they decide to renew it to make it even longer. That seems probably unnecessary, but we'll see if there's any fallout from this winter weather. The declaration will activate the city's emergency operations plan, which is now already in effect. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, has issued both a weather watch and weather alert for these next few days as the storm affects almost all the state. That means ERCOT does expect an increased power demand as people are in their homes trying to stay warm, as well as the possibility of lower power backups. They say network connections are expected to be normal, so that's good for your Wi-Fi, or phone calls, texting. You're also not being asked to conserve energy at this time, so that's good as well. Of course, don't use it all up. Don't leave all the lights on in the home, but you can watch your TV, you can do the heater, use things like that. They say that watch and alert will expire on Tuesday as things hopefully start to warm up. Now, we cannot stress this enough. If you have to drive, please be careful or just stay off the roads. TxDOT shared these pictures yesterday on Facebook of a crash early in the morning here in Odessa. One of their snow plows out on Interstate 20 was hit by a semi-truck. Thankfully, we're told that driver is okay. But a reminder, give crews space, whether that's our first responders, maintenance crews, electricians, people that are helping us through this winter storm. Stay out of their way. Don't go out on the roads. If you do have to drive, of course, keep distance between you and any other vehicles. And if you are traveling, just use that extreme caution. Give yourself plenty of time to brake. Don't slam on the brakes. Just gentle acceleration as well. No sharp turns. Be safe there on the roads. I did want to highlight this. As of 6 p.m. yesterday, TxDOT and the Presidio County Sheriff's Office say that Highway 90 is closed from Marfa all the way northwest to Van Horn and Interstate 10. So this is what kind of connects, Alpine, Marfa with the more western part of the state. But that road, again, Highway 90 marked there in blue, that whole stretch is closed. Alpine police say the road is still open between Marfa and Alpine. So that kind of twisty thing where you go by the Marfa lights and through the mountains, they say that is still open. So what are you showing me now? That's closed?
It's still closed,
according to, so on the TxDOT website, they are showing that as closed, which, again, that's a big stretch of road.
It is, and going all the way into New Mexico as well, it is closed. So that is a long stretch of highway. And I do know other portions of, I believe, I-10 may be closed, from the Van Horn area, I believe, to El Paso right there. There's a little bit of a stretch that's
It does
closed.
look like, Interstate 10 is closed there. You're right, between Van Horn and I guess headed out towards like Sierra Blanca. So again, you shouldn't be on the roads anyway, but just so you know, and can kind of maybe get a sense of, especially in these more mountainous areas, just how bad the weather has gotten.
Well, and I do know that yesterday we were seeing some really, really strong winds in the Van Horn area. They were being reported on automated weather stations there of up to 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
Wow.
So very, very strong winds out there. That was yesterday, of course, but that just shows you the conditions that we were seeing last night when these roads were closed.
All right.
And still closed this morning.
Right. And because of, not necessarily interstates, but even roads here in town, schools are already making plans to not have school tomorrow. That includes IDEA Public Schools, all of their Permian Basin campuses, so IDEA Travis, IDEA Yukon. Those will all be closed tomorrow. They came with that announcement just yesterday afternoon. So really wasting no time looking at weather conditions and saying things aren't going to get much better as temperatures will still remain well below freezing tomorrow. So no school for IDEA Public Schools. Also, a big one, Midland ISD announced yesterday afternoon that their schools and all district offices will be closed on Monday. It says that they have a plan for a bad weather makeup day on Friday, March 6th. Otherwise, that would have just been an off day from school if they didn't need it, but obviously they do need to use that tomorrow. So no school for Midland ISD. Makeup day then on March 6th. They will provide updates through email on their Facebook page and website, and we will share those updates with you here on First Alert 7 as well. In Odessa, Compass Academy says that they will have no class tomorrow. Their campuses and offices will be closed. They want their families to stay safe and warm and at home. For latest closures, you can go to firstalert7.com. We have a giant running list of not just schools, but businesses, churches as well. Maybe some of you thinking, hey, it's Sunday, I want to go to church. Still probably not a great idea. And most churches are closed anyway. You can just watch church on TV, or they offer live stream services, so that's good as well. Or they're not letting anybody go in, so they're just closed, and you just have to pray there at home this morning. A lot of you probably wondering, Ector County ISD. We have not heard from them yet. Of course, it's a giant school district. It affects a lot of our students and parents, families that are probably watching this now. No update from ECISD yet. They usually wait under normal circumstances till 5 a.m. morning of before they put that alert out. Maybe they will let us know here before the evening is over if they're going to have school tomorrow or not, or it may wait until that last minute just to have the most up-to-date forecast and conditions. But ECISD, we know, are monitoring the conditions, and as soon as they let us know, we will of course let you know across our platforms here on TV and online everywhere whether or not Ector County ISD is having school tomorrow. Let's go to some viewer pictures from across our area. Here's a look. I'm not sure exactly which Dairy Queen that is. I keep thinking it's maybe the one over by Odessa College, like Golder University, but I'm not 100% sure. It looks like that area. But here's a look at some of the snow yesterday. Again, when I think is Odessa.
Yeah, you know, we had that snow and ice. You know, we really had that ice throughout the morning hours yesterday, but then also some snow covering up later on, especially in the late afternoon and evening hours. We are waking up to snow across a good portion of the region this morning. So if you can measure that, send that in. We would love to hear your reports because, of course, where we're at here in Odessa, we don't have a ton. You know, it's measurable, but not a ton. But some areas could have more than others, especially in eastern portions of the region near Big Spring. You know, Andrews and Seminole still seeing some snowfall this morning. So please send those in. You can either email them to us at news@firstalert7.com or upload pictures, videos to our website at firstalert7.com. So we would love to see those reports because, you know, we're here. We're not out where you guys are, so we can't say exactly what's going on. You know, we can, but also not exactly.
And you don't need to go out either. You can take all these pictures from the, you know, comfort and beauty of your own home.
Yes.
All right. Well, we've talked about power outages. We talked about ERCOT just a little bit ago that, you know, they're prepared for the worst, but thankfully we're not seeing the worst. Here's a look live at the the Encore outage map here, looking across West Texas. You can see two dots, one there in Midland, kind of just south of Interstate 20. That dot is for an outage that's off of South County Road 1210. There's about 163 customers there just south of Midland going through a power outage that's been since about 4 a.m. So going on about, 3.5 hours now for them. Encore is still investigating that. It does not say whether or not they're repairing it yet. They do expect restoration, hopefully by noon for those people living there in Midland, but no updates on that outage. Again, affecting about 163 people in south side of Midland. Out in Greenwood, you can see another dot out there. That Greenwood dot is for about 77 customers. Encore says they are repairing this. Outage caused by adverse weather, they say. That was reported around 5 a.m., so about 2.5 hours without power for those folks. Estimated restoration out in Greenwood is 11:30, but again, that's only about 77 people going through that outage. So while we wish that no one was having to deal with not having power during this time because it is so cold outside, we want everyone to be heated and comfortable. Minimal impact from power outages.
It could definitely be way worse. So, you know, thankfully, most power outages have been resolved pretty quickly, or at least, not taking a whole day to be resolved, and, very, very minimal areas that are being impacted this morning, especially waking up, after all that snow and that ice that we have had.
Well, it does seem like we're not stacking any more ice on top of this now.
No, so even yesterday evening, I was, feeling pretty good about our power outage situation because most of that precipitation had transitioned over to snow and sleet, and snow and sleet aren't really going to cause at least direct issues on those, power lines. Ice is going to freeze onto those power lines. It adds, a ton of extra weight, and that can, snap those power lines, those, power poles. The only thing that I could think, at least with the snow, is that somebody, rams into the power pole and knocks down power lines.
Right, which is one more reason to stay off the roads.
Yes. But, at least once that precipitation transitioned over to snow and sleet, it wasn't going to cause those direct impacts to the, power lines.
All right, well, let's go over to Ethan, who's in the First Alert Weather Center. He's got our iCams pulled up. Ethan, what can you show us? Maybe just a tour across West Texas.
Yes, let's do it here, starting off in Odessa, and sun is starting to rise, and you can see, like we've been talking about all morning, it is just a winter wonderland out there. A nice dusting of snow across most locations. The roads are completely solid white, so if you must be out and about, again, we've been stressing, just take it slow. We do recommend that you do not drive out and about around this time, especially throughout the day, as temperatures are going to continue to stay well below freezing, so we're not going to see any of the snow melting throughout the entire day. We'll take you around the entire area. Now going to Midland, where we're seeing a nice sunrise in the background. Nice orange sky with some mostly cloudy skies. No precipitation falling as of right now, it looks like. Looking at I-20, you can see some of those white spots in the background. Cars moving really slow. So again, that's what we stress throughout the entire morning here. Andrews, Big Spring, we are having still a frozen iCam there, so can't really show much there. We'll take you back to the west into the Trans-Pecos, over here towards Pecos. And over there, we are also seeing some snow accumulations, also kind of similar to Odessa in Midland. You can see there are still some trucks on the road, so mainly those workers out and about. Again, we do stress, especially on those highways and overpasses where it's mostly slick, to just stay off those areas and, of course, take it slow. But it looks like road conditions are still slick out there, but they are a little less packed compared to out here in Odessa. We can go off to even El Paso if we want to here and see if there's anything accumulating over there. I don't believe that they got much snow, if any, and it does not look like they have gotten any there. It looks like they mainly got some rain showers. So looks like things, again, are on the downtrend today. A little bit of snow showers still out there, but by about 3 o'clock this afternoon, I think all of us will be dry in West Texas and southeast New Mexico.
All right, looks good. Thank you, Ethan. Those clouds are a bit ominous there in El Paso. Those they look like snow clouds.
Yes.
All right, so with these freezing temperatures continuing to kind of take over the state, dangerous cold is really the big concern now, just making sure everyone stays warm and is taken care of. And that includes our veterans. There's so many different veteran organizations and facilities out in Big Spring. The Veterans Land Board says that its staff, many of whom are veterans themselves, are working now around the clock to ensure that their members in nursing homes and elsewhere stay warm and safe. Jensen Young talked with them about these efforts.
The VLB oversees veteran nursing homes across the state, among many other responsibilities. Like many caretaking facilities, they have been planning for the storm for a while. Executive Secretary Tony Dale is confident everything is in place for these veterans to be well taken care of.
As it relates specifically to cold, one of the things that we pride ourselves on at the Veterans Land Board is having homes that are well maintained. We certainly do in Big Spring. It's one of our larger homes that holds up to 160 residents. But we've got emergency management plans in place that are exercised throughout the course of the year in preparation for this storm, since it's one that you know it's coming, unlike a tornado that maybe just hits you out of the blue.
There are a lot of resources for veterans in times of need. Whether it's during this storm or any other time during the year, there are many ways to find whatever help is needed.
At the county level, each county is required to have a Veterans Services Officer who is a county employee. They're going to be working in a situation like this very closely with the county judge to make sure that if someone needs assistance, they can be taken care of. So if there's a warming center or something like that that's opened, that's going to be announced through either your city or your county's government, and I would urge people to pay attention to that.
All right, and Sawyer, we continue to track the winter weather this morning. Of course, freezing cold outside. You said wind chills down around 0 here in Midland, Odessa.
Yeah, Midland, Odessa area are sitting at about 0 degrees for that wind chill value this morning, and Big Spring was at about -4 for those wind chill values. So we're going to head out there in just a few minutes to talk to our field crews and see what's going on in both Big Spring, Andrews, and here in Odessa. Here's a live look at that radar this morning. We are hanging on to some snow still across portions of the region, especially across the northern Permian Basin into southeast New Mexico, Seminole, possibly Andrews. So maybe the ladies in Andrews are going to see some snow within the next couple of minutes. And then also, like I mentioned, portions of southeast New Mexico, but also still some very, very isolated pockets of snowfall across the Permian Basin as well. And even some areas of pockets of heavier snowfall just to the south of I-20 this morning. Still very cold, so we do have that extreme cold warning, and that does continue until 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Central Time coming up on Monday for wind chill values as low as 7 degrees below 0. And then also that cold weather advisory in effect through that same time period. For wind chill values, a little bit warmer, but still rather chilly between 0 and 10 degrees. Here's a live look outside over the skies of El Paso. Like we mentioned, not a ton of precipitation there, mostly just rainfall because, that front hasn't kind of hit that area, but still rather chilly this morning across the region with those temperatures anywhere from about 10 in Lamesa to 39 in Presidio, 11 currently in Big Spring, 13 in Midland and Odessa. And here's a look at those wind chill values where we are seeing wind chills anywhere from 4 below in Lamesa, -2 in Big Spring. So it has warmed up 2 degrees at least for that wind chill value there in Big Spring, but still rather cold. And then, we are still seeing those wind chill values even south for areas near the border sitting in the 30s for Presidio, 3 in Midland. So a little bit warmer, but still rather cold this morning. And like we have been stressing, if you are outside for an extended period of time, please cover that any exposed skin because frostbite can occur in 30 minutes.
All right, that is good advice. And no one knows what it feels like outside better than our crews across the area. Let's start in Andrews. We're going to go to Andrews first for our live coverage. That is where First Alert 7 Sierra Burnett and Rachel Fortunato are braving the cold. So let's see what it's like there in Andrews right now, or maybe not. Okay, let's go to Can we go to Big Spring instead then? Would that work? Okay, let's go to Big Spring. They're standing by, ready to go. Wyatt Nunn slept in a little this morning, but now he is ready to join us for this live coverage. Wyatt, good morning.
Hey, thanks. Good morning, y'all. Yeah, so we are out here in Big Spring where for the first time since Jensen and I arrived on Friday night, we actually can see the sky. The cloud coverage has parted a little bit, so we're actually seeing a bit of that pink sunrise behind me here. But that is not reflected yet in the temperature, where it still sits in the single digits, and it has real feel currently of 0 on the dot. Now, it is nice that there is no precipitation, as well as the wind has almost died down completely. That could change later in the day. We're just going to have to keep track of it. But the one big noticeable thing from overnight is the snow. We definitely collected a few more inches than we had before we went to bed last night, and that is sure to affect travel as people come out of their house after these storms, try and get back onto the roads. Might take a little bit for the snow to melt or for the road departments to clear it. But for now, we're going to be keeping y'all updated throughout the morning and into the rest of the day. Reporting live in Howard County, Wyatt Nunn, First Alert 7 News.
All right, Wyatt, thank you very much. Beautiful sunrise there in Big Spring.
Absolutely gorgeous sunrise. I wish our iCam was working out there because it would be nice to see that sunrise. Maybe we could adjust our iCam here in Odessa to look towards, the east and see if we could see that sunrise out here and see if we can see a break in those clouds. But gorgeous sunrise out there with the pinks and the snow on the ground. So if you're in Big Spring and can capture that sunrise or really the sunrise anywhere across the region, please send those in. We would love to see those sunrise pictures like we've been mentioning about the snow. Any picture that you have for us, you can submit that on firstalert7.com and then we can, post that to our kind of picture website and you can see those yourself and then we could possibly use them on air coming up later on.
All right, well, let's go out and check conditions in Andrews, Texas, where they are probably seeing some beautiful sunrise there as well. There is Sierra Burnett in Andrews. Sierra, good morning.
Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Sawyer. So as you guys can see behind me, there is snow on the ground, but the snow has not begun to fall just yet. The snow is supposed to start falling here at 8 o'clock We've heard that the roads are still pretty icy, so if anybody that is thinking about going outside, just there's that note there to be safe, be careful, and drive as slow as you possibly can. Now, I know Rachel showed you guys the cars yesterday, but I mean earlier this morning. Well, we're gonna walk over here and we're gonna show you these cars again. So give me a second. As we turn this camera, you can see that all of the cars are basically submerged in the snow. We have two people right here that actually put their windshield wipers up. That was a good note. We forgot to do that on our cars, but this is what we are looking at right now. The snow is a little deeper, I would say, on this side of it, but not too much snow, as you can see all around here. And the roads are still very, very quiet. As Rachel also mentioned earlier, we spoke to a couple hotel employees and they were a little skeptical about coming outside because of the snow, because of the slippery roads, but they did make it here safely and on time. We've gotten a lot of people saying that they're extending their stays. I just spoke to another resident that's actually staying in this hotel. He's from Andrews, but he works in Lubbock. And his boss actually extended his stay here just so then he can make sure that he'll be okay for another couple nights. Yesterday, we spoke to an employee that said he had at least 5 people call him while he was on his shift to make reservations just in case their power does go out, because we know power outages have been an issue here in Andrews. Our power actually did go out on Friday when we were here, but we have not experienced any more power outages since. We have seen a few Encore trucks. We just seen a truck going by trying to shovel the snow out of the way, but still not a lot of people out on the roads as they are trying to stay at home, stay warm, and stay safe. So of course we'll have more updates, and when the snow begins to fall right here at 8 o'clock, we'll have that right here for you. Jacob?
All right, thank you, Sierra. She looks great, by the way.
Yeah, doing a great job with all of our reporters out there in the field this morning. We are so thankful for, their reports. We try and, get in the boots on the ground journalism.
Of course.
In those ares. Of course, we can't send people everywhere just because we don't have the capabilities for that. Mm-hmm. And, we got them there before this, while it was still raining.
Friday around noon when everybody went, before it even started raining.
Yes, so, everybody was there safely and has been where they have been, Andrews and Big Spring, since before the onset of this storm. So we are, keeping safety in mind for our reporters and, everybody here as well.
And we really appreciate their coverage. We talked about the sunrise, how beautiful it looked there in Big Spring. Andrews, we couldn't really see it.
No, Andrews, it still looks pretty dark from her live shot, but like I mentioned, we have snow actually rolling in there, so it might be snowing again
Snow clouds.
30 minutes from now. I do want to show the ICAM in Midland now. This is looking, of course, towards I-20, and just look at that sunrise. Not quite
Beautiful.
As pretty, I don't think, as the Big Spring one, but still looking like a nice sunrise out there. And sadly, our ICAM in Odessa is frozen, and we can't move it.
Turn.
We can't turn it. We can zoom, but that's not useful. But yeah, still pretty sunrise out there. We got the oranges, the pinks, a little bit of a blue hue there. And then, of course, a snowy sight there looking towards I-20 in Midland from our ICAM on the Petroleum Museum. Let's go to radar once again this morning because we are seeing some snowfall, like I mentioned, rolling into portions of the northern Permian Basin and southeast New Mexico this morning. Some actually heavy areas of snowfall as well, or at least heavier areas of snowfall. So here's a look at that live radar. Seminole, Andrews, Hobbs dealing with some snowfall still this morning, even though that's kind of our biggest bulk of snowfall, even denoted by some areas of like heavier snowfall with that blue, but still some isolated pockets for the Midland Odessa area as well. So we could be seeing a little bit more snowfall, but going to be very, very minimal overall with accumulations. And like I mentioned, very cold this morning with those wind chill values sitting anywhere from -1 in Big Spring to 35 in Presidio, sitting at a whopping 0 in Midland and at Midland International Air and Spaceport. But, with these wind chill values, especially, the below 0 ones or ones near 0, -5 even for that wind chill in Big Lake, 30 minutes outside with exposed skin can cause frostbite. So please, if you do have to be outside for an extended period of time, cover any exposed skin, wear gloves, wear layers as well. You know, one pair of wimpy gloves is not going to cut it, you guys. You have to have good gloves, heavy gloves, or if you don't have, you know, good gloves, layer those gloves. You know, even me, I have the kind of the wool, you know, knitted gloves, and then I have my thick gloves on top of that are waterproof as well. You know, and I've been going outside, hat as well, because ears, you know, fingers are the, you know, kind of biggest extremities that get the frostbite the quickest, because, you know, those are things that people don't think to cover. Ethan, let's kind of go to our forecast as we continue through today. We are going to see those temperatures still going to be very, very cold as we head through our our Sunday, and into Monday. So our highs today looking to be in the 20s. We'll see if we reach that, just because it is so cold and we do have that precipitation on the ground. I would say maybe upper teens for those high temperatures realistically, but this is kind of what we're going with for now. And then 50s for the Presidio area, even though they are sitting in the 30s this morning. We should see that precipitation coming to an end within the next couple of hours, you know, probably by about 3 by the latest, and even some sunshine. And, you know, we're seeing this morning, but especially coming up this evening. Then tonight, still going to be very cold as well, with those actual air temperatures in the single digits to the 20s. You know, 2 overnight for Big Spring, 7 for Midland, 8 for Odessa, with those wind chill values anywhere from -12 in Big Spring possible to -1 in Midland, Odessa, and -5 in Big Lake, -6 in Andrews. So, you know, for those school districts, it is going to be very cold coming up tomorrow morning. And as those kiddos and teachers, of course, are headed off to school, you know, it is going to be dangerously cold. So very, very cold coming up tomorrow, even though that precipitation is going to be done. But, you know, if we can go to Futurecast, I'll kind of show what we're thinking with our thoughts for our Futurecast today. We are going to see, you know, this is a little bit more snowier than kind of what we're seeing right now, but looking to see, like I mentioned, that precipitation done by about 3 p.m. and then even some clearing with those clouds as we do head into night. But another thing that I do want to mention is, with all that ice and snow on the ground in clear skies overnight, we are looking to see some fog forming heading into tomorrow morning. So even though the precipitation should be done, we could see some areas of reduced visibility due to that fog tomorrow if you do have to be on the roads early on. So tune in to Wake Up West Texas tomorrow to get an update on those that potential fog, but still should see precipitation ending coming up within the next couple of hours. And if we could go to our First Alert 7 10-day forecast, we are going to see things gradually warming
icicles.
up. Okay, I thought we broke the weather graphics.
Well,
system.
the frozen graphic actually froze.
But we are going to see things gradually improving through the week. Still rather chilly heading into our Tuesday and our Wednesday morning, but those highs should be above freezing coming up by Tuesday afternoon. Then temperatures dropping, like I mentioned, in the morning hours, but overall we are looking to see some improvement in those temperatures as we head through this week.
Now, let's not just look past 7 as our low tonight.
Hey, First Alert 7, first alerting you to the 7 coming up Monday morning.
Oh my gosh, and you said that little funky symbol there on Monday, that's fog.
Yes, that is denoting fog in the morning hours.
Okay, I mean, it's hard to convey fog and make it not look like a cloud. But okay, so that's fog in the morning. And what is the science behind that? Like, what's going on there is why we'd be getting fog. You said that it's actually going to be like very clear conditions, like we shouldn't actually have clouds, but so that could open it up for more fog to be happening.
So basically, it's the thing called radiational cooling that happens anyway, you know, even if the ground is clear of, you know, snow, ice, and that can cause that fog. Ethan, chime in here if you have a better thought process to this, but okay, but so radiational cooling can cause, you know, fog formation, you know, with increased dew points anyway, even if there is no cloud cover, and that is also when we do see those cooler mornings actually. But especially with this precipitation on the ground, you know, the ground is colder than the air above it, and so it kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, Ethan.
Well, what's happening tonight is, like you said, we're going to be seeing a decrease in cloud cover.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have cloud cover normally at night, that actually traps the heat that we accumulate in the afternoon. But tonight we're going to get rid of that clouds, so it's going to radiatively cool. So we're going to see a lot more cooling overnight. And as it cools, we'll cool to what we call the dew point. And when we reach the dew point, we reach saturation. So we see moisture in the air. And when we cool at the surface, we have that slight inversion aloft, which is slightly warmer. And that warm layer just above the surface traps the moisture at the surface, which is why we get that fog And we also need those light winds. So we'll see those light winds as well throughout tomorrow. So that's the combination of ingredients that are needed. It's also very precise ingredients that we need. But yeah, Sawyer said it just exactly right.
All right, great.
Cool.
Thank you, Sawyer,
Nailed
and
it.
thank you, Ethan, for that breakdown. Now we're going to try to go back out into our parking lot, just outside the First Alert 7 studios, where First Alert 7's Lauren Munt has been reporting for the last, 48 hours at this point. Lauren's been doing a lot. Lauren, how are conditions right now here in Odessa?
Jacob, I think we've reached the point where I can't feel my face, and we are struggling out here in the chilly temperatures, but it is still a ton of fun. All of this fresh powder, it is absolutely beautiful. Now that it's actually daylight, you guys might actually get to see a little bit of the snow a little better. Let's see if we can get a pan around and see all of that beautiful white snow blanketing West Texas this morning. I mean, there's just nothing better than a fresh layer of beautiful, pure white snow. It looks so incredible, so pretty, really honing in on that winter that we didn't really have this year. I mean, it was fairly warm temperatures all the way up until now in January. We're finally getting that sense of winter that we've been longing for. I don't want it to last that long, though. I will say I'm very content with it only lasting a few days. I do love my warm West Texas temperatures, so I am looking forward to it warming up a little bit. But I mean, it's nice to have a snow day every once in a while, and we are certainly enjoying it here. Even though we are working, there's still tons of fun to be had. We built a snowman earlier. We sled down earlier. I think we're going to get in a snowball fight a little bit later today. But just absolutely beautiful, beautiful snow. But we do want to remind you that underneath that beautiful snow is ice. So let's still try and avoid getting outside today. We don't want to be driving around on those icy roads, even though they are covered in snow. Ice underneath them. So we still want to be safe. So maybe stay inside, warm up the fireplace, get some hot chocolate, and enjoy a wonderful snow day in your home. If you do have to go out, I will say we did see here at Music City Mall, they did have like a snow plow that was going through the roads. They were shoveling the door here just a second ago. Not something we see every day. So if you do have to go out, there are places that are going to be open. But if it's not necessary to go outside, go ahead and stay inside. And we're going to take that same advice and go inside because I'm pretty frozen at this point, Jacob, so we're going to go inside and warm up a little bit before we have to come back out here in 30 minutes.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. We do appreciate you being out there in the cold. Come back inside so your face can regain feeling. We are worried about her. That's one of those signs you don't want. Don't be out in the cold till your face starts to feel numb.
Exactly. I mean, you can tell, like, from most of our reporters out and about across the Permian Basin, their faces are turning red.
Right.
And noses.
And again, we're not like leaving them out there for hours. That's
No,
like
that's just a
Jensen
couple
and like
minutes.
Rachel, who you've seen, have been going inside to their hotel, just hanging out in the lobby until it's time to come outside, go live. But it just takes a few minutes.
Yeah, just a few minutes. Like we were talking about earlier, Sawyer's mentioned multiple times, it just takes 30, maybe a little bit longer, 30 minutes of exposed skin in these sort of temperatures to cause frostbite. So again, make sure you're layering up just like you've been seeing on air here with all of our reporters.
Well, we appreciate you watching us live here on this live stream. We've got it going on Facebook and on YouTube, on our First Alert 7 News app, and our website as well, our streaming platform there on the website as well. So it's great that you can check in here. You get these live coverage, even though we're not on TV, not on actual Channel 7 right now. Lots of places to see live weather coverage, bringing you the latest conditions from outside, actually in the elements. And then, of course, Ethan and Sawyer doing the forecasting, looking at the maps, all the things happening right now. We were tracking just that little bit of snow there, kind of going through the northern area, sort of Seminole, Andrews area.
Yeah, I think we're kind of at the peak of the day today. Like once that batch moves through, we'll see a couple isolated pockets of snow throughout the early afternoon. But I think most of us really stays dry through the rest of today. Again, you might see a couple light flurries, a light snow shower once or twice, but by 12, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everything is going to be out of here. Cold will hang around, clouds will hang around, but then at 6 o'clock, clouds will also be out of here. We'll get a lot of sunshine back in the forecast, but cold.
That's good.
All the way through tomorrow. Very
and
cold.
that'll help warm things up too as soon as we can see the sun.
Exactly.
Some news for you. Ector County Judge Justin Fawcett has declared a local state of disaster. Judge Fawcett sent a letter to Governor Greg Abbott stating the potential impacts of this winter weather and what it'll do to our residents. Fawcett is requesting this proclamation be issued and remain in effect until that weather starts to lighten up. Mayor Cal Hendrick of Odessa also declared a state of disaster. According to a news release, this will be in place for at least 7 days, unless the city of Odessa wants to renew it for even longer. So what these declarations do is it activates the city or county emergency operations plans, gets all their folks engaged and puts that in place, and also allows you to receive money from the state to help with any repairs that need to be made or fallout from these storms. And so that is what these disaster declarations mean. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, as you probably know them, has issued a weather watch and weather alert for the next several days as this winter storm affects all of Texas. It means that ERCOT expects an increased power demand and the possibility of low power backups. They say that network connections are expected to remain normal, which is good. Your Wi-Fi or cell service, that's good. And you're also not being asked to conserve energy at this time. So you can be at home with your heat on, watching the TV, that's all fine. Don't leave every light in the house on, but that's just a good helpful tip for you, not have to pay as big of an electric bill. Of course, they will continue to watch this. That alert is set to expire on Tuesday, as like Ethan said, things should hopefully start warming up at some point during Tuesday. Now, if you are going out on the roads, we'd prefer that you not, just to keep everyone safe, including yourself. Be careful. Texas Department of Transportation shared these pictures on Facebook of a crash yesterday morning in Odessa. They say one of their snowplows was hit by a semi-truck on Interstate 20. You can see the aftermath of that. Fortunately, we are told that driver was okay, but this is a reminder, give crews space to work, whether that's snowplows, TxDOT, first responders, electrical crews, those teams, linemen. Stay out of their way, let them do the work to keep us all warm and safe, and you can just stay at home. Sawyer, you raised your hand. Did you want to say something on that?
I was going to read this, but...
Oh, okay. Well, tell us about this then.
This is a traffic alert for you. As of 6 p.m. yesterday, Highway 90 is closed from Marfa all the way to Interstate 10 and Van Horn. This comes from TxDOT and the Presidio County Sheriff's Office. Alpine Police also say that the road remains open between Marfa and Alpine, but that they are monitoring road conditions and also taking a look at TxDOT this morning. That does remain closed as of now.
A very large stretch of road to be shut down.
Yeah, you know, all the way from Marfa to New Mexico, I believe. It is
so even past Interstate 10.
Yes.
And fun fact, last night, around that same corridor, we were getting some reports of thunder sleet and thunder snow. So
what is that?
So that's literally the same thing as a snow shower or sleet shower, whatever you want to call it, but we're actually embedding some lightning in there and actually hearing rumbles of thunder. So that actually was happening last night across those areas.
Okay, so if you hear of thunder snow, that's what we're talking about.
It's very fun, and it's not necessarily rare, but especially out here, I feel like that's a little odd, especially because snow is just rare in general. Lauren was actually texting me last night and was like, I got an alert that there's lightning nearby. You know, should I be scared or should I be nervous? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, no, it's lightning. But
usually lightning and thunder within a snow shower can usually represent as a heavier snow shower.
Heavier areas of precipitation.
Yeah, so usually you'll see heavier snow rates. Like we were seeing some areas 1 to 2 inches per hour last night in very localized spots because they're just heavier snow showers and convective. And what that means is we're seeing a lot of lightning and thunder within them, which is it's rare for a lot of locations, especially West Texas.
Yeah, you know, even in Colorado back at home, thunder snow is, you know, anytime that happens, we're like, yay, thunder snow.
And I come from an area too that's very known for snow, and I've actually never experienced it myself. Yeah. Like I've seen it on radar like I did last night, but I still never heard a thunder rumble during a snowstorm.
Oh, I have. I love thunder snow. It's
what
so
a
fun.
Wild sensation, I guess.
Yeah, so you can have lightning while it's snowing as well.
If that snow wasn't enough, if the blizzard's not enough for you, here's a little lightning thrown in.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you guys for telling us about that. Let's talk about some school closures real quick before we go out to our live crews again and check on conditions outside. So we do want to let you know that all Permian Basin campuses for IDEA Public Schools will be closed on Monday. That announcement came just yesterday afternoon. So IDEA Yukon, IDEA Travis in Odessa and Midland, and any other IDEA campuses here in the Permian Basin will be closed for school tomorrow. Midland ISD also made the announcement yesterday afternoon, getting way out ahead of it. No school tomorrow for Midland ISD, that their district offices will be also be closed. This would mean, of course, normally there's not many after-school activities on Mondays, but that would mean any after-school activities. We'll maybe even keep an eye on basketball games and stuff for Tuesday. Those could be in jeopardy. Of course, they'll update you. Midland ISD does have a bad weather makeup day built into their calendar already, so you guys probably know how this works. If you don't end up having any snow days, ice days, school cancellations, that's just an off day. That'll be on March 6th. But now, since they have canceled school tomorrow, they will use that as their weather makeup day and have school on Friday, March 6th. I'm sorry if you guys made plans for vacations or something already on those days. You're going to have to change it a little, but enjoy the off day tomorrow. Midland ISD will provide updates through email and on their Facebook page. And of course, we will let you know here on FirstAlert7.com, or First Alert 7 on TV and on .com as well on those. For Odessa, Compass Academy canceled all their classes tomorrow, so offices will all be closed again, no activities. They just want their families to stay home. A lot of you wondering, though, about Ector County ISD. We have not gotten an official word from them yet. They are monitoring things. I think I've seen some emails and things sent out to students, families, staff about what Ector County ISD is doing, but they will be monitoring conditions. We'll update you on that later today, or maybe even by 5 a.m. tomorrow is the kind of cutoff point for ECISD on whether or not there will be school tomorrow. We will be your first alert on that. All right, let's go back to now our team coverage from across the Midland, Odessa, and greater Permian Basin area. We do have crews out in Odessa, Big Spring, and Andrews. Let's start here in Odessa. We just heard from her a little bit ago. Lauren Munt did come back inside, I believe, to rewarm her face because she was getting a bit frigid out there. Lauren, a lot of snow here in Odessa as people are waking up this morning, and it does look at least really pretty when you kind of see the undisturbed snow out there.
Yeah, Jacob, we did get a little break inside. We are a little more warm now. We're looking forward to getting warm again. There's a weird siren going on, just in case you guys hear that. We're not entirely sure what that is, but we'll look into it in just a little bit to figure out what's going on. But yes, beautiful, fresh snow waking everybody up this morning. I hope everyone is getting a really nice, sleeping in, a beautiful snow day. Wake up in the morning to some fresh powder. Maybe make some warm breakfast. I love oatmeal on a snowy day. Hot tea, hot chocolate, hot coffee. I've had a lot of hot coffee today. Just, get ready for a beautiful snow day. Stay inside. As much as you can, stay inside. And if you are going to go outside, layer up. We've got 5 different layers on. I know that I do. I'm sure that our teams all across West Texas do as well. Layer up and then go play in the snow. Have some fun with it. We don't get this very often in West Texas, so it is something to absolutely enjoy when we do. And it is a little brighter outside. You can see the snow a little bit better. It just looks absolutely beautiful. There's really no way to describe the absolute, I'm going to say it 5 million times, absolute beauty of the snow here in West Texas. Jacob, I know you said it a little bit earlier, but it's cold, but for some reason when it's snow, it doesn't feel as cold. I know that technically it's colder today than it was yesterday, but just because the excitement and the fun of the snow just makes it not feel as bad. Maybe that's a bad sign. Maybe we should layer up some more. Maybe we've hit the point where we're a little too cold. But no, it's just absolutely incredible. But it is still ice underneath, so we're trying to tell you guys avoid those roads if possible. If you do need to go out, we know that there are some places that are still open, so you are able to drive them. Just drive slow, drive carefully, be safe. Jacob, I'm going to send it back to you guys in studio.
All right, Lauren, thank you very much. Let's head up to Andrews now, which is maybe the spot where we're seeing maybe the best chance for any active weather, as you saw snowstorms kind of rolling in toward Andrews.
Yeah, that's kind of our spot, still dealing with some snow this morning and even some patches of heavy snow. We'll check in with them and see if it's snowing out there. Rachel Sierra, how's it going out there this morning in Andrews?
Hi, Jacob and Sawyer. So as we said earlier, it was going to start snowing at 8 o'clock. We promised you snow, so here is the snow. I know you guys can't see it that much, I don't know, on you guys' screen, but it is starting to come down a little harder than it was yesterday. I will say, when we looked on our weather app, it said that it was 9 degrees, feels like 4, which some would say is warmer than it was yesterday when we were out here, when it was 17 degrees, but felt like -1. So The snow, like I said, is beginning to come down. Again, nobody is outside on the roads right now. The roads are still very, very quiet. Slippery roads, as we told you earlier. We actually spoke to a resident of this, or somebody who's staying in this hotel, and he was actually driving from South Carolina all the way to Phoenix. They left early this morning to try to get ahead of the snow, so hopefully their drive is very safe and easy as they try to make their way down there. He said that he was also surprised by how much snow was still left out here. I remember I told you guys earlier that there was a snowplow out here trying to move things out of the way, out of the roads for everybody's safety. They're still going up and down these roads right here, trying to move the snow out the way as best as they possibly can right now. But again, the snow is coming down. It is coming down a little harder, as you guys can probably see. It is still cold. It's not as cold as it was earlier because the wind has calmed down. But the 3 degrees, I will say, definitely feels like that out here. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Sierra, thank you very much. So still snowing there in Andrews.
Yeah, we just talked about it before we went to her, but that is kind of the area that we are still seeing snow this morning. Still seeing some very isolated spots across, the central Permian Basin, but that is kind of where our heaviest bulk of snowfall is still falling this morning, and even some areas of heavy pockets of snow as well. And we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes after we head to Big Spring and talk to Jensen and Wyatt.
All right, so yes, let's go out to Big Spring now, where it looks like they are not seeing snow right now. It could track east, though. That storm maybe could still affect Big Spring, so we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that there. Wyatt, good morning. What are things looking like in Big Spring right now?
Yeah, good morning, y'all. So this is far and away the most active that we have seen Big Spring since Jensen and I got to town on Friday. There have been a lot more vehicles going down the interstate. There have been cars in and out of the parking lot for most of the morning, as well as we are seeing clear skies. However, there is a chance that this is all going to change within the hour. That snow that we just saw going through Andrews with Sierra is on its way here. Now, if it were to break up, that's a chance that the area would stay the same. However, it is looking like that snow will continue on east and make its way to Howard County. We will keep you updated throughout the day if that happens and what that looks like in terms of building more ice and snow, and if people are able to stay on the road or if it forces them back into their homes or hotels like the one that Jensen and I are at right now. We'll get to that later in the day, however. For now, reporting live in Big Spring, Wyatt Nunn, First Alert 7 News.
All right, thank you very much, Wyatt. I was enjoying a cookie. I thought we've been on TV now for the last 2 hours, so I figured I would eat a cookie for a little break.
Well, we'll give you a break, Jacob, and we'll switch over to the weather forecast, give you an update on what's going on right now, some observed conditions, and as you did see, Sierra is experiencing some snow showers up there as we speak. So let's look at this live satellite and radar. As of 8:07 this morning, and again, northern Permian Basin up towards Andrews, we are seeing some snow showers moving in. This is really the best we're going to see, I think, for most of the day today. As this shifts off to the east, I think we're going to start to see more and more spottiness, if you will, across the Permian Basin, really all of West Texas. But all that blue is indicating straight snow, so there's no real mix of sleet in there. Maybe a few ice pellets here and there, but we could zoom all the way in here across the northern Permian Basin. Areas like Seminole probably experiencing some light snow. Andrews right in the core of that snow in the dark blue, so likely experiencing moderate to possibly heavy snow, so likely looking at additional accumulations. But down to the south, across Midland, Odessa, doesn't look like there's anything on radar right now, but with the proximity to that little snow shower, there could be some couple flakes out there falling from the sky, but generally very, very light. We expect little accumulations going throughout the rest of the afternoon. So that's the current look on satellite and radar. And here's a live iCam over Midland. Sun is on the rise, and we're seeing a lot of that white on the ground. So dusting of snow in this location, but very bitter cold temperatures combining that wind. And we are down to -2 in Big Spring being the cold spot this morning. -2 at the Midland International Air and Spaceport, where this iCam is right near. -1 in Lamesa, 2 in Andrews, and those temperatures are not going to warm up very much this afternoon. We're going for highs in the upper teens and also low 20s, and then they'll plummet once again for Monday morning. They'll be even colder and likely the coldest temperatures we've seen for most of the season. Now, here are the next 10 days on your low temperatures, and really not a single night are we going to see temperatures above freezing. Daytime highs will get above freezing as we head in towards your Tuesday afternoon. But we're going to start off the day on some Monday morning at 7, 13 on Monday night, 16 on Tuesday night. We're not getting out of the teens for those nighttime lows till Wednesday through Thursday and Friday. And we might actually touch the 32-degree marker on Saturday, maybe seeing a full day above freezing. So warmer weather, relatively speaking, is on the way, but it looks like we're going to stay below average for this time of year all the way through the end of the 10-day forecast. Now, big picture across the entire nation. It's just a polar invasion out there. And really, we should say Arctic invasion, because this air mass came all the way up from the north, has sagged down through much of the contiguous U.S. -9 degrees up in Minneapolis. That's not the wind chill, that's the actual air temperature. And that's even colder than our wind chills down here in West Texas. We are at a temperature of 13 in Midland, Odessa, 7 degrees in St. Louis, 1 in Kansas City. So just bitter cold. Look at all those deep purples, light purples, all those grays and blues. The warm spot being down here across Alabama to southeastern Mississippi, 72 degrees in New Orleans. Can you believe that compared to all these temperatures around the country? Now, this warm blob here, we call this the warm sector, just ahead of a surface low that's pushing through the Tennessee Valley. And just to the south of that low, we are seeing some increased moisture, possibly some instability to promote some severe thunderstorms, if you can believe that, just to the south of that big snowstorm and ice storm moving through the Tennessee and Ohio River Valley. So a big stark change in weather conditions across the Mid-South. Broad satellite and radar view across the entire country. A lot of action across the eastern half of the country now. We saw a lot of that action now pushing out of the state of Texas and Oklahoma. Continue to push off to the east throughout this morning. We're now starting to see things drying out across the entire state of Texas as we speak. Again, we did mention a few isolated snow showers, particularly moderate to heavy showers moving through the northern Permian Basin near the Andrews area, but it's on the downtrend. So by about, I would say 12 o'clock this afternoon, most of us will be dry, but everyone I think will be dry by 3 o'clock this afternoon, just with some clouds hanging around and very cold temperatures. So those are not going away anytime soon. But let's look up here across the snow band here across the Ohio River Valley back and towards Missouri. Likely seeing amounts upwards of 8+ inches. We've already gotten reports of 8+ inches in portions of St. Louis, 10+ inches across the Ohio River Valley. And as this system pushes off to the northeast, it's going to gain some strength as it moves over those Appalachian Mountains into New England. And we could see some areas approaching a foot or two of snow. Now, the purple here is that mixed precipitation, the sleet and the freezing rain. We're looking at an uptick in that freezing rain and sleet across that region, across the mid-Mississippi River Valley, across Louisiana, Arkansas, into Mississippi. We have ice storms in effect over there, so looking at accumulations of possibly over a ½ an inch of ice, maybe upwards of an inch. So it's going to be quite a stark contrast compared to those thunderstorms across Alabama going this afternoon. Now, back at home in West Texas throughout the day, we did mention as things are starting to downtrend. We do have that batch of snow showers across the extreme northern Permian Basin into that Andrews area. Might track east into Big Spring by about 9 o'clock. Well, they'll be right on the tail end of that. 9 o'clock here, we could see another band roll through from the west, moving through the central Permian Basin. But overall, it looks to thin out throughout the rest of today. You can see here about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, isolated pockets here and there across the Permian Basin, maybe a mixed batch here across the Texas Big Bend, maybe some sleet, freezing rain down there, but everyone else to the north only going to see some spotty snow showers, generally light across most locations. But look at that, 3 o'clock, we are completely dry, and it's going to be just a little bit cloudy and extremely cold still. And then by 6 o'clock, right around sunset, we actually might have a pretty nice sunset to look at. Just a little bit of spotty clouds out there, but mostly sunny by the time we hit that time frame. And then Monday morning, it looks like we could see some fog. So let's step in towards today. We are looking at temperatures not warming up very much with those clouds staying in place for most of the day. Snowpack on the ground, keeping temperatures cool. Looking at upper teens to low 20s for most locations. Southwestern portions of the region will be warmer, looking at 30s, even 50s, 54 for Presidio. But again, those snow showers will be done before about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Overnight tonight, look at those temperatures down to the single digits for everyone in the Permian Basin. 7 degrees for Midland, 8 degrees for Odessa, 11 for Monahans, 5 for Hobbs, 2 degrees for Big Spring. Can you believe that? And also, we'll start tomorrow morning with patchy fog, so reduced visibilities and slick roads will cause some hazardous travel conditions. So make sure if you have to go to work tomorrow, take it extremely slow and especially bundle up because those forecast wind chills will be well below zero, especially in Big Spring. Look at that, negative 12 degrees, negative 8 for Hobbs, negative 7 for Carlsbad, 21 for Presidio, so not as bad down there, but negative 1 for both Midland and Odessa. So going to look ahead of your 10-day forecast because we are looking at some changes, especially in the terms of precipitation, because we dry out this afternoon and continue through really the next 10 days. But then tomorrow morning we start with a very cold AM, single digits and fog, warming up to maybe around 32 degrees, but I think we don't get out of freezing territory till 12 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon, where highs will rebound quite a bit. We'll be back to 42 on Tuesday, 44 on Wednesday, but that's after morning starts in the teens, so still relatively cold. And also comparing it to our average this time of year, that's still very cold. Our average high right around 58 to 59, so right around 15 degrees below where we should be this time of year. We'll approach 50 for your afternoon high on Thursday after a morning start in the 20s. Same thing can be said on Friday, but we'll see an increasing clouds ahead of our next system, possibly seeing some snow showers, maybe a shower mix in there going into that time frame. Right now, still about 5 days out, so a lot of time for more data to come in, but right now, not looking too meaningful on those precip chances. Heading to the weekend, looks like even warmer conditions could be on the way. Look at that high on Sunday. 61 degrees, possible 50s going into the new work week, so warmer weather is on the horizon and potentially seasonable weather by the end of the next weekend.
That's going to be a very nice improvement.
Definitely. I mean, I don't think, well, we did actually hit the 60s on Thursday last week. That was the last time we hit the 60s, but we're going to see an entire week without even approaching the 50s.
Okay, wow. So, I mean, and the lows, looking at the lows here just on the 10-day, nothing above freezing.
No. It doesn't appear to be so until maybe the second half of the weekend. We'll be in the single digits to start the work week, teens midweek, 20s at the end of the work week. So it's going to be very cold mornings. Still bundle up, even though daytime highs will be relatively warmer and nearing 50 degrees by Thursday, but still cold and be well below average for this time of the year.
And Sawyer highlighted looking ahead on Friday, so this coming Friday, we do have some rain chances, very slight. Could just be rain, but depending what time of day it rolls through, it could be in the evenings, overnight, where temperatures are down below freezing.
Yeah, there's a lot of press, and I want to stress that if you guys are seeing any social media posts about this big winter storm that's going to tear through the south once again, take that with a grain of salt. This is not something that we're forecasting once again. There's a lot of those, what we call hype casters, the fear mongerers, who will try to post, these crazy weather model data, and they'll just take one run and post it and go with it. Yes, some models are suggesting another chance of snow into Friday. Is it going to be just as bad as today, or this weekend, I should say? Likely not. It's not looking to say that way, and model guidance is all over the place, so uncertainty is high, and forecast confidence is not very high right now. But as we get closer, as we always say, we will be your first alert on any potential winter weather impacts going into that time frame.
All right, Ethan, that sounds good. If we could talk here for just a moment, a lot of people are curious about road conditions right now. It's everybody kind of waking up. They're like, hey, can I go out and drive here in Odessa or Midland? Or, I mean, we don't know specifics on like county roads out in Ward County or whatever. We can't help you there. Although my guess is those are probably the worst. Don't drive on those.
Yeah, I mean, like we did see that a lot of the roads in the ICAMs did have a lot of that glaze on there from previous ice that we accumulated. So ice is still on the ground, even though we haven't seen any about since, I would say, the last 24 hours almost. We haven't seen any ice accumulation. It's still on the ground because we haven't not gotten above freezing. So slick roads will still be there. And then we've packed some snow on top of that, which might conceal some of the ice that's on there. So it might look safe, but it's not. And so we do recommend, if you must drive out there, take it slow, ease on the brakes, ease on that gas pedal, take slow on those turns, give yourself extra space around all those other drivers so you're keeping them and yourself safe throughout the day. And of course, bundle up with that extreme cold as well.
For sure. We talked about any exposed skin is susceptible to
make sure you're putting on
frostbite.
Those gloves. Even like a mask is good too, because there's also research that your nose and your chin are also very susceptible to frostbite as well. So even putting on one of those ski masks can be a good thing for you if you're very vulnerable to the cold, because we've seen our reporters out there with just bright red faces after 5 minutes of being
Right.
out there.
We're not leaving them out there for hours at a time, and they're
Yeah.
turning red. I mean, they're popping outside to go live, and just in that few minutes,
Yes.
turning red in the face.
And so we were talking about how it could be as little as 30 minutes for some individuals to develop frostbite on exposed skin, and especially with that wind chill blowing across exposed skin, it really makes it feel that much colder, because temperatures right now actual are at 13 degrees, but you combine just the light wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour this morning, and we're well below zero. So those wind chills compared to temperatures are like a 10 to 20 degree difference. We also saw Big Spring at -12 this morning. Very, very
Wow.
cold. So again, bundle up, wear a hat, wear maybe a ski mask, scarf, extra heavy coat, gloves, maybe an extra pair of socks on top of those that you originally wear. So, because we're going to continue to see this dangerous cold throughout today, and I think the coldest of the year settles in overnight tonight. We've seen very dangerously cold conditions each morning, but everyone, I think, gets to the single digits for actual temperatures tonight, and sub-zero for those wind chills.
On wind chills, because the wind chill makes it even worse. Back on the topic of roads, we don't want to give people like a false sense of safety or comfort, but I did notice, like, even my driveway, for example, yesterday when everything was so icy, I mean, it was like perilous kind of walking down. My wife made me go buy salt so I could like back out of the driveway in the morning. We
That's
were
smart.
concerned about that. It was a smart call, and it did help,
Yes.
even though it was water softener ice, because they were out of the actual like ice melting
I can
salt.
imagine. I mean,
It had to be
everyone's probably
water
like making
softener
sure they
salt.
got their salt to salt their own driveways and sidewalks.
So yes, we got the stuff for the water softener, but it did work. Nice big pellets, and they dissolved, and you could see the spots where there was no ice right around
Yes.
the salt pellets. So that was good. But this morning I noticed, or even last night after we'd gotten a snow kind of throughout the afternoon, like walking down the driveway and stuff, there's actually better traction because you can
Yes.
kind of like sink into the snow. It gives your shoes or tires something to grab onto. But again, we don't want to tell people like, hey, it's okay to just go
Yeah,
tool around
it
out
still
on the snow.
kind of gives a false sense of hope, because yesterday, I mean, I was slipping trying to get out of my apartment on my way to work yesterday morning. This morning felt good. Could feel my shoes sinking into the
Right.
snow, more traction, and same can be said about my drive over here. But that does not mean there's no ice on the roads, and especially where areas have already been driven over. Those ice accumulations are now more exposed, so you have less traction on the road. So again, even though we have snow packed on top of the ice, that really just conceals the dangerous factor of the roads.
So it's almost maybe the more well-traveled spots, whether that's, say, Grandview, 42nd Street here, Midland Drive over in Midland, or 250, 191, whatever it might be that you're on. Maybe now that ice has become re-exposed, could make it more hazardous, especially on like overpasses.
Exactly, and I think the back roads and like neighborhood roads are going to be the worst, as you know, we haven't had as much action back there in terms of people driving. Maybe snow plows haven't gotten back there either, and so I think a lot of the roads in the back roads, like in the neighborhoods, are going to be the worst. So if you're pulling out of your own neighborhood, out of your own house, take it extremely slow, especially driving through the neighborhoods, because again, it's very narrow on those streets as well. A lot of cars around. You don't want to slip and hit other vehicles, so make sure you take it extremely slow, especially on those back roads.
And of course, no one here is really like experienced at snow driving.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not experienced either and you don't have the confidence to drive, just don't. We recommend just staying home. It's extremely cold anyway. You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to put on 50 layers to go outside, right? So just stay inside where you can keep those layers off in the heat, watch some TV, chill out with the family, where you're warm and safe.
And like you said, accidentally bump into someone else's car, and now you're stuck out there doing an insurance claim in the 12-degree cold.
Yeah, no one wants to deal with that. It's just a winter weather mess out there. It's just best to stay inside at this point.
All right, Ethan, thank you very much. Well, let's go live outside now again here, outside of Music City Mall, outside the First Alert 7 studios. Sawyer McElroy obviously has left us, and she's chosen to go outside with Lauren Munt, where they're trying to make the best out of these snowy conditions and have some fun. Because like we've said, we want to stay home, stay safe, but at your house, go in the backyard, go in the front yard. You can make snowmen, throw snowballs, whatever.
Exactly. Just again, make sure you bundle up though if you go outside.
Yeah, no exposed skin, and do not stay out there for a long time. But the girls out there, like we said, trying to have some fun outside in the snow. Sawyer and Lauren, good morning. What's going on?
Good morning, Jacob. It's been a long morning. I have been saying all morning, if you've been with us all day, I've been saying that I'm getting you guys who are in the studio nice and toasty and warm. We've been jealous of you guys all morning. I'm getting y'all out here in the snow. You guys are going to deal with what we've been dealing with all morning, which has been a ton of fun. We love being out here. We love being out in the snow, and we've gotten plenty of time inside, I can tell you that. But It is so fun to get to play out here in the snow. Earlier, we went sledding. I had a cardboard box. Everyone in the studio was like, that's not going to work. It worked. It worked very well. Sawyer, you have said that these trash cans lids we found are going to be better. You did just attempt it. Can we get a zoom on the... We are going to embarrass ourselves, Sawyer. We can see where she attempted. It didn't go very well. I wanted to challenge you to a race to see who can go down faster and better. Tell us why the trash cans are better.
I mean, I just think compared to a cardboard box, which isn't very stable, you know, and the plastic, you know, is slippery anyway. You know, we obviously don't have sleds here at First Alert 7, and I bet most of you don't have sleds either. But, you know, have a little bit of fun. Find a hill close to your house. You know, we don't want people going out on the roads still, but find a hill, you know, get a trash can lid. These are, you know, from those, you know, 50-gallon or whatever, those big trash cans, and we'll see if they work. You know, my test run didn't work very well. I'm going to try and get a running start, but...
I need to point out, though, that, again, you just made fun of my box. Again, what you just said, the boxes aren't as good, and I cannot wait to show you that my box was better. Are you going to get a running start? Y'all, I hope our bosses aren't watching. Okay, Sawyer, you ready to go? 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait, it's not going at all. Tuck and roll. I made it down faster than you, though. Goodness gracious. I'm going back to my box. It was way better than the trash can lid. Now I'm wet and covered in snow. I'm getting my box back. I'm going to send it back to you guys in studio. Jacob, Ethan, you're next.
I think that looks like a concussion there. I hope Lauren's okay.
Yeah, I hope so. She tumbled like a tumbleweed down that hill. Does look like fun, but it's cold out there. So once again, they're bundled up. So we're out there, so you don't have to be. And of course, if you have to be out there, again, we're recommending a lot of layers today.
Absolutely. Let's go. Could we go to one of our stories maybe that people have done over these last few days? I mean, Lauren clearly likes to have fun. She did a story about what to do if you're inside. Because we're still thinking, we're telling people stay off the roads, don't go anywhere. Well, it's my weekend. I want to do something fun.
Right.
Maybe they're not football fans. We got playoff games coming up later today. First Alert 7, you can watch the AFC Championship game at 2. See if the Broncos or the Patriots, which one's going to go to the Super Bowl, then the NFC Championship game later tonight as well, Rams Seahawks. But Lauren went to the Museum of the Southwest where they told her a little bit about the fun activities that you can do while you're stuck inside.
All right, the museum is closed this weekend like most other places due to these frigid temperatures. But I did talk to them about an activity that you can do inside while also staying warm. Take a look.
Hi, so we're going to show you how to make a survival of the slowest obstacle course using things that you can find at home.
For this project, you will need an empty cereal box or any cardboard structure, a rock or a small heavy object, tape, glue, and any craft materials that you can find around the house.
Anything you can be creative with. It's all about engineering and creativity.
Now, there are no rules. Just use whatever you can find to create a really cool maze.
Doesn't have to be fancy, just something quick, easy, so it flattens it out just like this. I really love this activity for being inside because it really kind of gives you the opportunity to really look around, kind of get to know your surroundings and see what you can make when you really don't have anything to make stuff. Next, what we're going to do is you want to kind of start building it, just like we have this example here. You take different sorts of paper. You can use like toilet paper, paper towel rolls, some tape, some yarn.
And basically then, you just start placing obstructions anywhere on the cardboard that you want.
So I'm going to start with building a wall.
Okay.
To put our obstacle course in.
Gotcha. I'm going to start here making just a start line.
Now this should keep kids busy for a while, but we don't have that kind of time. So let's make some TV magic.
So what we've gone ahead and done is we've added a little barrier here, added a little ramp here, just to kind of, add some more zhuzh to it, make it look nice.
Of course, next you need a friend to attempt your new obstacle course.
So this is JJ. He is to represent our slot that we have here at the museum, and he is going to go through our obstacle course here. So you'll stick him through, and when you pull it along, you'll pull it along the different areas.
This activity is inspired by the museum's Survival of the Slowest exhibit.
We really wanted to talk about how things move very slow, so we built an obstacle course where you're purposely making your little creature move slowly through the obstacle course.
Now, that little creature isn't the only thing moving slow this weekend.
It's really important that children remember, like, not everything is super fast paced. It's okay to go slow. Sometimes slow is best.
So this weekend, slow down, stay safe, and stay inside. Reporting at the Museum of the Southwest, I'm Lauren Munt for Alert 7 News.
All right, looks like some fun there, things you can do if you're in the house. We got some breaking news. We got an email just in from Midland County, their public information officer, letting us know that Midland County offices will be closed all day tomorrow. So all day Monday already, Midland County offices are closed. So all those positions, different things will be closed. They will reopen Tuesday at noon.
Okay,
so they're going
right
to do
around when temperatures get above freezing, it looks like.
so a delayed start, I guess, yeah, hoping that maybe conditions will be better by then. Ethan, as far as like active snowfall here for mainly, I guess we'll mainly talk Monday, but then even Tuesday as people maybe are restarting school or work, what are we seeing as more precipitation happening?
Well, right now, we do have only that batch of snow still moving through the northern Permian Basin, through portions of Andrews, which we saw. And again, that looks to taper off by the early afternoon. So the reason why we're seeing these closures is because even though it's not going to be precipitating, the roads are still going to be slick.
Right, already from 2 days ago at this point.
Because we've already gotten ice accumulations, snow is on the road now, temperature well below freezing, wind chills well below zero, and we're not going to see that change till Tuesday at noon. That's kind of a realistic estimate there for when we'll be above freezing, above 32 degrees. So that's by which point we'll actually start to see improvements on the roads.
And so this is not our call. We have nothing to do with this. But as far as school Tuesday morning, would you foresee perhaps not starting any either?
I could see there being more improvement on the roads by then. Will it be 100% clear? No. And so if we're considering that as a fact, there are still possibilities of those delays. Yes.
Okay, and again, I mean, the school districts will make that call. They'll be the ones consulting with meteorologists, National Weather Service to figure that out. And I mean, I know a lot of them go drive the roads themselves. They'll send out their buses. They'll send out, the superintendent if they have to go drive the roads and see, is this something that's safe for our students? All right, well, we'd like to continue some more of our live coverage now across the Permian Basin area. I think we've got our Odessa crew. Looks like, well, I can see them over there on that screen, actually. They're wandering around. So we'll wait till their camera is ready. Is the Andrews ready? Because they, I think, are still seeing snow. Could we start out with them? All right, so let's start out in Andrews. We'll go to Andrews first while everybody else kind of gets in position. Because as Ethan mentioned, that's where a band of snow is actually crossing through our area. Kind of the only place we're seeing that active snow. Sierra Burnett there is live in Andrews. Sierra, is it still snowing?
Yes, Jacob, it is still actively snowing right now. I'll give you guys a look of what it looks like right now. This is what we're looking at. It is currently 11 degrees outside, but it feels like 2. And this heavy snow is supposed to continue for the next hour or so, according to our weather app. I'll try to walk out a little bit more just so you guys can see. The wind is blowing. The snow is coming down very heavy. We just spoke to someone who was staying here at this hotel. They stayed here overnight and they're on their way back to Odessa from here. So hopefully they have a safe drive back to Odessa in this snow. But Jacob, it is coming down heavy right now. As you can probably see, I'll give you guys a look of what it looks like just around our hotel right now. And like I said, it's 11 degrees outside, feels like 2. And I can say it does feel exactly like that. The snow is getting a lot heavier around here. It's completely covered in snow, no roads really that you can see. So I really suggest that anybody who is thinking about going outside or may want to stay off of the roads right now, as the snow is supposed to be coming down. It's supposed to be heavy again for the next hour or so. And then we are possibly seeing sleet and freezing rain later on at 2 o'clock, just to note for anybody else later on. But this heavy snow is going to keep up for the next hour. And of course, as you can see, I'm kind of drenched in the snow right now. I'm gonna try to stay safe, stay warm here at our hotel. And Jacob, we will keep you updated with any more details, any more snow that you guys want to see here in Andrews. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Sierra. I mean, that is legitimate snowfall.
Yeah,
there.
it looks like a good snow over there. We had a pocket on radar that was showing higher reflectivities, and so we're like, we might as well pop up over there and Andrew see how it's going. It's coming down pretty good. You could see that on her camera. It looks like we might actually catch more accumulation over there.
All right, I mean, yeah, even as far as like what we saw here in Odessa, Midland yesterday, that's probably some of the heaviest snowfall that I've witnessed with my own eyes.
Yes, yeah, me too.
All right, here as part of this storm. Let's go to the parking lot here outside of First Alert 7 studios at Music City Mall. Sawyer McElroy is out there in her special winter hat. Sawyer, how are conditions here in Odessa?
Yeah, you know, it is also spitting snow here in Odessa right now. Obviously, very, very minimal accumulations with this snowfall. You know, you were just talking about it. The bulk of that snowfall is still to our north in the northern Permian Basin and southeast New Mexico, but still spitting a little bit of snowfall out here. It is also cold, you know, definitely make sure to layer. I'm feeling pretty good out here. My face is a little bit cold, but, you know, that's why I got to keep talking, keep those muscles working and muscles moving. But definitely a little bit chilly out here. You know, we've been talking all morning. We have seen accumulating snowfall across a good portion of the region. And because I've always wanted to do this, I'm going to probably hand my microphone to Lauren Munt if she can hold on to it. I've always wanted to do this on television, you guys. Ugh. Back to you guys inside.
Well, she's doing snow angels out there, it looks like. It's enough snow for that.
Uh-huh. Well, good for Sawyer being out there having fun in the weather conditions out there.
Probably even colder now as she has that cold snowpack on her back.
Right,
so
yes.
We don't recommend that if you're not trying to be cold, but if you're trying to have a little bit of fun, maybe do it real quick, come back inside because you don't want to be out there too long.
Snow angels are a rarity in West Texas. So
I can imagine, yes.
When you get the chance, you got to take that opportunity. Yeah. Let's continue our team coverage as we look around the conditions happening right now in West Texas. Let's go out to Big Spring where Jensen Young is. Jensen, I see you're in front of your First Alert 7 vehicle.
Yes, I want to show you what we are looking at in terms of obviously plenty of snow on the ground, but in terms of your car, it's really frozen over. There's a lot of ice here, plenty on top, obviously. Look at all that on top of the car. Definitely not the best conditions to be driving, and it would take a while for the car to defrost if you do not have a scraper or anything like that. But either way, not the most, not the best idea to go driving right now if you can avoid it. But come on outside, obviously, because there's so much to do here. By the way, there's a good chunk of ice here, so definitely watch out for those if you are having to drive or if you're just out in the snow. There could be a good piece of ice. That is a whole piece of ice right there, so definitely watch out for that. Let's get that out of the way. Let's go check out some of this other snow. Look how much accumulated here. Look at this spot in the parking lot. Oh my gosh, there's so much here. I heard that Sawyer was just doing a snow angel. I might honestly join her. That does sound fun. I'm not entirely wearing the pants for it, but I'm going to be inside after this. So let's do it. How about that? So definitely plenty of snow, enough to do a whole snow angel. Wow, look at all that. That's so much. How fun is this? I was not expecting to be able to do this when I moved out to Texas. But anyways, plenty of snowfall. And plenty of snowfall to myself and my phone. Oh no, that is unfortunate. Watch out if you're going outside with your phone. I gotta get that taken care of. Anyways, plenty of snowfall, not too much wind, not actively snowing like it is in Andrews, but a lot of snow here in Big Spring, a lot of chill here. Wind chill, probably not too much above zero. Anyways, I'm gonna toss it back to you guys. I'm gonna go take care of my phone, make sure it works totally fine. Looks like it's fine at the moment. Anyways, I'll toss it back to you guys in the studio for First Alert 7 News. I'm Jensen Young.
Jensen, I do have a question for you real quick, if that's okay. I know you want to get your phone back inside, but you're right there staying on Interstate 20.
I hope they have.
Yeah.
He's leaving. He's wandering off. Okay, well, we tried. I want to see how many vehicles are traveling on the interstate right now.
Well, we could pull up the Midland iCam. That might give us a little bit of a
That's
view.
not a bad idea. Yeah, why don't we try that? We'll go to our iCams.
Pop
We can
off
look
screen here.
In Pecos, we'd be able to see Interstate 20 there as well. So we could go look at that. There it is.
Oh, it's right there. Well, there you go. I don't think I can see many, if any, people driving on the interstate. Maybe some cars back there, but I don't know if that's on the interstate itself.
I don't think it is. Yeah.
So from the Midland view right here, oh, well, there we go. There's some cars driving right there on the interstate.
And for perspective, this camera's on top of the Petroleum Museum.
And it looks like they're taking it slow, relatively speaking, so that's what we recommend today. Going below the speed limit, there's no reason to be even going the speed limit, and especially going over, so make sure you're taking it slow. Road conditions have deteriorated a little bit with the ice from last night, the snowpack this morning. So just make sure you're taking it slow out there. The good news is, though, is that things are on the downtrend. We have seen snow starting to taper off across most locations. The only exception across far northern portions of the Permian Basin. Like Andrews, we just saw Sierra getting a nice moderate snow. And then we are 2 for 3 now on reporters doing snow angels. So enough of snow out there for that. But if you do that, make sure you go out quick and come back inside real quick, because it's cold and laying in the snow is cold, dangerously cold right now. So yeah, good amount of snow though.
All right. And Ethan, could we get you back in the Weather Center and look at that storm we're tracking again? It's the only snow we're really seeing in the area. Yeah. See where that's at right now and kind of where it might be headed to.
100%. Let's flip back to the radar here. Give me just 2 seconds. And there we go. Radar is back up. And we'll pop on screen here to give you a little bit of an update. And it looks like radar right now here across the northern Permian Basin. Again, those blue colors are the snow moving through north of the Midland and Odessa area, right here over towards Andrews. You can see those darker blues. That's the sign of moderate to potentially heavy snow. That is gradually tracking to the east. So if we track that off to the east, that could affect Big Spring, far northern portions of Midland and Odessa. It does look like Pecos is getting a light snow shower as well. So some of this activity is going to continue to drift off to the east through the rest of the afternoon, but it's going to continue to be more spotty over time. So it looks like by about noontime, most of us will be dry. 3 o'clock, everyone's going to be dry. Can we zoom in on this one? Yes, we can. So let's zoom in a little bit on Andrews to give you a better look. It does look like Seminole as well, up and towards La Mesa, also getting in on the action. Coming in closer to areas like Stanton and Lenora. Ackerley also starting to see some of that. Gale is up in there across some of those showers up towards Denver City. Jall might be getting a little flurries. Goldsmith looking like they could see a little bit of flurries. Also, if you zoom into Odessa, it looks like some reflectivity showing up here. Not terribly strong, but it's enough to where we could be seeing some flurries across isolated spots, but I don't think it's enough to really accumulate a whole lot. But again, tracking this off to the east, it looks like most of this is going to be out of the Permian Basin here by about noon, so really the next 2 to 3 hours, and then 3 p.m., everything's going to be clear.
All right, looking good. And we said this could go to Big Spring. Here's one of those, like, I guess, kind of layman questions. We think of like a rainstorm or when we're tracking tornadoes or things like that. It's pretty clear, like, okay, if it's here in this one place, we can see it's moving there. Does snow, is it a little different in that way where like conditions may be right here over Andrews and Seminole, but by the time it gets to Big Spring, it's not right?
It is very, very similar with just kind of precipitation in general. It almost like is a shapeshifter, if you know what I mean. Like if you notice over the loop, like it hasn't maintained the same shape or integrity. You can actually kind of see a little bit of drier air over time filtering into Seminole. So if we get any of those dry air intrusions, it could just make the shower fall apart completely. But if we do maintain the integrity of this shower, it will eventually move into portions of Big Spring. Now, as far as how heavy it's going to be, it looks like they'll catch the tail end of that. So it will be relatively light, not quite as dense as Andrews it looks like, because that main core, which you can see in the dark blue, that's going to be moving, looks like just to the north of the main Big Spring area.
All right, so there's snow here in our area right now. This is what we're keeping an eye on. We got another update here for us. Katie Carlock, our digital person, is kind of keeping an eye on emails and updates on social media. She's letting me know that Ector County ISD is having a meeting at 10 o'clock. I assume this is a.m. this morning.
Okay.
I guess to kind of go over conditions, reevaluate whether or not Ector County ISD wants to have school tomorrow. We've already let you know Midland ISD has already made that decision. That was yesterday afternoon that they made the call. No school tomorrow for Monday. We have a closings tab, or you can go to this again. Go to our homepage. You can see closings and delay right there, lit up in red. Go to our website, see all the closings across our area right now, and we've got it for all different sorts of things, whether that's schools or businesses, churches. A lot of churches are closed this morning, and I assume that means they may not even be doing. Some may be doing live streams, or maybe a few people have to go in and can live stream from the empty church, or just none of that today.
And if you're just joining, the reason why we're seeing these closures is not because we're expecting precipitation going into Monday. It's because we're going to continue to see temperatures well below freezing, so at dangerous levels. But when you combine that with already having frozen precipitation on the ground, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to melt. So we'll still see slick roads, hazardous travel conditions. So that's the reason why we're seeing these closures. It's not because of the precipitation itself lingering into Monday.
And we've told you about the school districts that have closed, like Midland ISD, Idea Public Schools, Odessa Compass Academy have decided to not have school tomorrow. Howard College in Big Spring has already called off no school tomorrow for Howard College. Midland College has canceled classes and offices tomorrow, and Odessa College all closed tomorrow. So as far as colleges and universities here in our area, that includes Howard, Midland, and Odessa College, all canceled for tomorrow. UT Permian Basin, we are still waiting to hear from them officially on whether UTPB will be having classes or anything tomorrow. Of course, that again affects activities as well. So basketball games, or I try to think of other sports going on. High school has soccer games going on. Normally high school games are Tuesdays and Fridays. But we may have to keep an eye on Tuesday as well, because it may not be better.
Yeah, it may not, because I don't think, like we've been talking about really all morning, these frozen temperatures, sub-freezing temperatures, I should say, they're not going to get above 32 degrees till it looks like about noon on Tuesday. So I think we'll start to see improvement with sunshine coming in on tomorrow, but with it still being well below freezing through the day, I think we'll see little improvement, but the big improvement comes Tuesday. Once we get above freezing, more sunshine, things start to melt, and we'll start to see more improvement. So Tuesday looks like it will be better. Will it be 100% non-slick? Probably not.
Andrews County already announced that they'll be closed on Monday. We did give you the breaking update. Midland County just sent us an email a few minutes ago that Midland County offices will be closed tomorrow, and then also not until noon on Tuesday, so a delayed start for those Midland County offices. I'm just here on our website kind of scrolling through. First Basin Credit Union opens at 10 a.m. on Monday, so that's maybe just a slight delay. First Baptist Church of Midland, First Baptist Church of Stanton, both those are closed today. No services. Midland College, as we mentioned. Midland County offices, Odessa College. So
we do know that not everybody's going to be closed on Monday. So with those people who are having to go to work, or if any schools do remain open, and you are going to have to get to those places somehow. So if you drive, make sure you're taking it extremely slow. And also, being out in the morning is going to be dangerously cold. Our coldest temperatures of the season arrive tomorrow morning. So if you have any early morning commutes to work, maybe any school that doesn't close, make sure you bundle up in multiple layers. Don't stay outside for a long period of time. And also, take it slow on your drives, especially if you have to drive on any overpasses, any surfaces that are above ground, as those will be slick for longer periods of time. They won't melt as quickly, and they're more iced up in general as it is. So if most areas look to be closing, it looks like, but for those that are not, take it slow, bundle up, and make sure that you stay that way through really the entire day on Mondays. We won't see a whole lot of improvement, it looks like.
We've been talking a lot about safety. If we want to get more safety tips, I know Jay Hendricks a few days ago did an interview with Steve LeSueur from Odessa Police Department, and they were talking about, I think, roads and things like that. Could we get that queued up for us, and then we can hear what Steve had to say with Jay there in that interview. And this was, again, like Friday evening, I believe, is when they recorded this. But it's all going to still hold true as we are still seeing ice and now snow out on all the roads.
Yes, it'll be great advice from Jay and them.
Okay, well, let's go to that now. Here's Jay interviewing Steve with the Odessa Police Department.
All right, I'm joined now by Corporal Steve LeSueur, Odessa Police Department. Of course, freezing temperatures already here. That's the big problem. I know y'all are always called out for wrecks, whether it's just rainy or whatever, but it's the ice that's the big problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned, icy roads is really the most dangerous thing. Pretty much, you just have to reduce your speed. Keep your distance between your vehicle and the vehicle that's in front of you. As far as my experience in being here at OPD, it seems like the most dangerous areas are the I-20, Highway 191, Places like that where you have the overpasses and the bridges, you just have to be so careful.
You mentioned also out in West Odessa, there's a lot of that too.
Yeah, Southwest, where they have extra, they seem to have more bridges. It just seems to be more, ice forms right there, and it just catches people off guard. And really the best thing is just, really try to avoid, traveling on the I-20 or 191 if possible.
Yeah, we've noticed a lot of water too, and we've gotten some puddles out there. That's a big concern too.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely, because it can go from having no crashes on the I-20 for 1 second. Next thing you know, we have 3 crashes, all back to back, and at some point, sometimes it's just more effective to just stay off of it. It's just better to just take the service road or take an alternative route.
Okay, sometimes you also get calls about people who need help, need assistance, so they can't stay warm or they're out in the elements. You guys, I know the county has a plan. Do y'all have a plan also?
Yeah, so we partner with the Salvation Army. If it's a Czech welfare call, we respond to those quite a bit, especially in this type of weather. If you do see someone that is out, in the cold weather and you are concerned about them, please give us a call. You have nothing to lose. Call that non-emergency line, the 432-333-3641. Of course, if you think that they're, deceased or, and it's emergency, then call 911. But, call it in as a Czech welfare and we will respond and we will take over from there.
Do you put extra officers out when it's like this?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It just depends. We kind of monitor it. So really, we're anticipating it to get I think bad, tomorrow night, especially into Sunday and of course Monday as well.
Okay. And I know that, again, the big concern with those areas where there is water already, that's going to be the concern, especially now that temperatures have dropped.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, the flooding. The flooding is also something you have to watch out for. So just try to avoid going. If you see, if you see possible flooding, just turn around. It's not worth it.
Would you rather them call 911 or the main number at the depending on what it is, but if let's check welfare, would you want them to call 911?
No, for the check welfare, you can just call the non-emergency line unless it is a life or death situation.
Obviously, if you see something happening, a crash or something, you want to call that 911.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're concerned about their status, if you don't really know, definitely call that 911. But really, the bottom line is that you just have to slow down and just plan ahead. And one of the most important things is keep that distance between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you, because we see it time and time again. I think one year we had several dozen crashes. I don't know if it was 80 or 90 or whatever it was, but it was a ridiculous amount within a very short period of time. So
all right,
we've seen it happen.
Please be careful if you're out there driving around. Steve, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, like we said, good advice there from Steve with Odessa Police. Jay talking to him just a few days ago, but it all holds true because there's still ice down on the roads.
Yeah, even though we have seen that ice be covered by snow, there is still ice underneath that snow. And then as more people drive on the roads, that snow compacts and then refreezes and turns into ice.
And our coldest temperatures are still happening today and even into tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to get even colder as we do head throughout the rest of our Sunday and into our early Monday morning and of course, that's why we do have that extreme cold warning across much of the region.
All right, well, we were seeing not much snow fell yesterday throughout the afternoon and evening, fell overnight. You're probably waking up now, seeing a lot more snow outside than what it was before. My wife just sent me a picture, it looked like from our backyard, probably like, oh, wow. There's more snow now. I think that's probably what she just woke up and saw. But let's go out to Andrews, where it's actually actively snowing, or was here within the last few minutes, had been actively snowing. Sierra Burnett is kind enough to rejoin us again live there in Andrews. Sierra, are you still seeing that snow? It was falling really hard earlier.
Yeah, Jacob and Sawyer. So again, the snow has not stopped yet. It's not expected to stop until for the next 30 minutes. So the heavy snow is going to continue. I can turn my camera around and show you guys what we're looking at right now. Again, heavy snow for the next 35 minutes or so. And this is what we are looking at right here from Andrews. It is 12 degrees and feels like 1. So it's gone down from the last time that we spoke when I said it was 11 degrees and felt like 2. Rachel and I have been here since Friday, and I can tell you it did not look like this on Friday when we first got here. The snow really just started, I would say, Saturday night, overnight before today, and now it is Sunday and we are here in the snow. Rachel, what do you remember from Friday when we first got here?
Friday it pretty much rained all day. It wasn't this cold, but yeah, Sierra, it is very cold out here. Actively snowing. We're hoping this is the only active snow we get today. We have seen people, from the hotel come, and they've been trying to leave and get on those roads, but I think it's probably safer to wait it out another day. The snow may turn into ice. We'll see.
Yeah, the roads, we've been told, have been very slippery. People are kind of staying put where they're at, being more cautious of not going outside to stay off the roads, to stay safe and stay out of harm's way. Like we said, the snow is expected to last for the next 30 minutes. We don't know if it's going to continue. We can see a slight chance of possibly sleet around 2 o'clock for anybody in Andrews or around this area. We have not been made aware of any other power outages as of right now, because we know that has also been an issue. We have been fine with our power here at our hotel, but we know that on Friday there were over 1,000 in this area. We are hoping that everybody stays safe, stays off the roads as this snow continues and as this winter weather kind of moves through this area and on to the next.
Yeah, just remember, guys, stay safe out there. If you don't have to drive, don't drive, and just keep checking for weather updates, and hopefully we'll get through this early this week.
And we will have those updates right here live for you on First Alert 7 on all of our streaming. So Jacob, I guess we'll toss it back to you guys in the studio, where I'm sure it's a lot more warm than it is out here.
Thank you, Sierra and Rachel. We do appreciate your coverage from there in Andrews. It does look great with the snow falling there.
It does. I mean, that's like one of the only spots that's seeing like a good moderate snowfall right now across the entire region. So looking like things are on the downtrend. So as we get closer to ending this stream, the good news is things are on the downtrend. So by the afternoon, things will be pretty much clear.
All right, let's go out to Big Spring again, where First Alert 7's Jensen Young is reporting live. We tried to ask Jensen a little bit earlier about Interstate 20, because their hotel that they've been staying at there is right along the interstate. Jensen, what are conditions like there on the roads? Are you seeing a lot of people out driving this morning?
No, not too many people driving this morning. Actually, 2 trucks just passed me moments ago before you came to me. You might have seen it while we were on our split box. But by the way, happy to report my phone is okay. I couldn't hear you. I apologize. You might have been able to see my headphones were out of it, but hello. Anyways, let's take a little bit of a walk. We'll be careful with the frontage road here, but you can see not many people on. Actually, there is 1 truck down here on I-20 at the moment. Definitely snow around the roads, but it looks to be okay in terms of how the conditions are to drive on. Still not the best idea to drive if you can avoid it, but it looks like it is okay on I-20 at the moment. I haven't seen any crashes or heard of any yet on I-20. Hopefully we don't get any. I just said yet, implying that we might have some, but hopefully we don't have any. Another truck is coming down on I-20 right now, but looking to be pretty decent conditions right now, Jacob.
All right, Jensen, thank you very much for that update. Sawyer, you had the idea of talking about, because your mother's here visiting,
My mother's
and she's got to
in
get
town.
back home at some point.
Yes.
Airports, what's going on with those?
Yeah, so I do have the scheduled departures for Midland International Air and Spaceport pulled up right now. There has only been 1 cancellation so far today, and that was to DFW. And so yesterday, DFW and Love, I believe, had over 1,000 flights canceled out of both of those airports yesterday. This was I believe, like flight around 10-ish, because just based off the times I'm looking at, but that was canceled. But going to Denver looks fine, going to LA, there are even other DFW flights that are scheduled for later today from Midland that aren't delayed currently. However, that could obviously change because they have seen this winter weather as well. And a very, very good portion of the country, especially as you head east, has seen this storm. So
I think nearly 90% of the state of Texas got in on the action. And that's saying a lot, because the state of Texas is large,
yes,
and it goes all the way to the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
And I think we also saw some freezing rain as far south as Houston.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
So
it's really only like Brownsville, or we were looking at Presidio, was like in the 50s yesterday, but they're down in the 30s today as well.
Yeah, and going back to the airport, if you do leave out of Midland International, 90% of the time you're going to have a layover somewhere. And most of the time that is DFW or Dallas Love or Houston or Austin. So if you are heading to any of those Texas airports, definitely want to check that. Right now, like I said, only 1 cancellation, and nothing looks terribly delayed.
Well, and that's the other thing, is that I'm here on the Midland International Air and Spaceport page, and their advice is always check with your airline.
Yes.
Their airlines are the ones that control delays and cancellations. It's not the airport
No,
itself.
exactly, but-
It's because the airlines have their own crews. It's their planes. They're the ones that de-ice them or think it's safe or not, whether to come and go. So if you do have any flights here over the next few days, or you've got family that need to get home, that are planning to visit you, whatever it might be for work, check with the airlines because they'll have the most up-to-date information on delays or cancellations. Well, guys, as we close out our live stream, let's get just one more look at the weather forecast, see where things are right now, and then what to expect here the next day or two.
Yeah. Joe, you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it over if I could grab the clicker from you. All right, so once again, here's a look at that live radar this morning where we are continuing to see a few pockets of snow, especially across the northern Permian Basin and southeast New Mexico. We just checked in with Sierra and Rachel, and they were seeing that snow in Andrews. That is starting to move out of there now, kind of rolling near the Stanton area, still seeing some snow in Lamesa, and then near Big Spring, so we'll have to check in with Jensen and Wyatt, even if it is after the stream is done, just to see what's going on there and if that snowfall has, pushed into that area. But otherwise, still seeing a little pocket near Monahans, Wink, Pecos as well, but, relatively light snow. And then we could be seeing some light flurries, some light snow across portions of Odessa and Midland, just kind of, on the south end of that cell, but still very, very cold. Like we have mentioned, those wind chill values this morning are ranging from the negatives, -3 in Lamesa to 28 in Presidio. And like I mentioned, we are now seeing snow here on our iCam in Midland, looking towards I-20. Steady snow at that. It's more than flurries, but that bulk of that snowfall is going to be to the north. And then, like I mentioned, very, very cold. Those temperatures are going to remain rather cold in the morning hours as we head through this week. And we do have those, weather alerts that end at noon for that winter storm warning today, but those cold weather advisories and extreme cold warning that do continue into our Monday. I do want to show this picture. So we have been kind of talking about it. A very, very good portion of the south and southeast, and really just the east of the, eastern portion of the United States are dealing with effects from this storm. Temperatures across Texas ranging from 7 in Amarillo to 32 in Houston, sitting at a solid 14 at Midland International Air and Spaceport, 14 in DFW as well. So, this front has brought winter conditions to pretty much all of West Texas. And then here's a look at that satellite and radar. We are continuing to see snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain for portions of the country. And I also do kind of want to highlight this. We do have some more snow off to the west in New Mexico right now, so that is something to keep an eye on as we head through today. But like I mentioned, we should see conditions clearing out by noon, and like I mentioned, just going to be very, very chilly for today, though. Looking to possibly see those highs anywhere from the 20s to the 50s. I don't think we're going to warm up too much more as we head through today. Coming up tonight, though, going to be very cold with those actual lows in the single digits to the 20s, but those wind chill values, anywhere from -12 possibly in Big Spring to -1 in Midland and Odessa, 5 below in Big Lake, 6 below in Andrews, 8 below in Hobbs. So just really, once again, wanting to stress that extreme cold, even once that precipitation is done, as we do head into our Monday and possibly Tuesday morning as well, because we are not going to see things warming up very much as we head throughout the next, 48 hours or so.
All right, well, there you have it. We've been on TV now for 3 hours. Whether that was on First Alert 7 or now live streaming for since 7 to 9 that we've been doing this. So hopefully you've gotten the information you needed. If you maybe slept in because you didn't have anything to do this Sunday, you may just now be waking up. But there's still plenty of information out there. We are your first alert, and that's not just a tagline. We really are your first alert on this storm. Been live throughout basically the whole thing. I think the only local TV station that did anything remotely close to this. So we have been here with you every step of the way, and you can still get all your information from our website, firstalert7.com, where we have a running list of closings and delays carrying into tomorrow and maybe even Tuesday. We'll see. You can, of course, get your weather forecast. You can see live streams anytime any of our crew goes live, like we just have again for the last 3 hours here. So we'll continue to update you throughout the day. And then, of course, tomorrow is going to be a big day as well, as it's going to be freezing cold once again. So Ethan and Sawyer, I appreciate you guys taking the time being here with us all morning. And we appreciate all of you that have watched. You can go back and even watch this whole live stream on our Facebook or our YouTube page. So many places that you can get your news and weather from us here at First Alert 7. We appreciate you. Stay warm out there and stay